Chapter 2133. In a newbie village mailbox. Meng Luo stood in front of the mailbox, dumbfounded as she looked at the mail. Wow, you guys didn't tell me that you were playing the game secretly. Hua Jianro and the flame rat walked up together. Noticing Meng Luo's expression, the flame rat tilted its head. What's wrong with Meng Luo? Not only that, White's eyebrows were also very serious. Her hands were crossed, and she bit her lips under the veil. Her eyebrows were slightly furrowed, and she was struggling internally. What's wrong with you guys? Hua Jianro was confused as well. She looked at White's face for a while before looking at Meng Luo. Meng Luo, Sister Hua, there's a lot of equipment, Meng Luo said in a cute tone. How much is a lot? Hua Jianro knew that Future had sent equipment to Meng Luo, but she was not the one who had sent it. She was curious about the number of equipment. A lot. Meng Luo was still staring at the mailbox blankly. Future God has sent me more than 100 emails, and there are 5 pieces of equipment in each email. They are all above level 50. Huh? Suddenly, Hua Jianro was stunned. More than 500 level 50 equipment? What did he do? Did he rob the newbie village's equipment warehouse? Little White. Not long after, Hua Jianro looked at White. Don't tell me that his equipment was obtained from the map you brought him to. Most likely. White nodded. You're too much, girl. You didn't let us go to such a good map, and you gave it to Future. You're not even married yet, and you're already siding with an outsider, Hua Jianro said. Level 50 equipment at the moment. It was definitely the most popular equipment. Most players were above level 40, and they would need to change their equipment in a few days. Stop messing around. All of a sudden, Bai Sei shouted angrily. The flame rat and Hua Jianro were stunned. Based on their friendship, they could tell that Bai Sei was really angry. What's going on? Hua Jianro pouted. What map did you bring him to? How could there be so many equipment? It was a non-boss monster. The drop rate of equipment was very low. One would be lucky to get one out of hundreds of monsters. Most of the equipment that dropped were white or blue equipment. The probability of gold equipment dropping was almost 0. The probability of Yi Zichen sending Meng Luo over 100 emails was definitely not from normal monsters. However, if it was from bosses, the total number of bosses that players could kill in a map wasn't that many. Bai Luo said. Bai Sei furrowed his eyebrows. The monsters in that map are all over level 50. Hua Jianro Chun White. There were probably more than 1,000 of them. Bai Sei replied as she recalled the number of them that she had seen when she had first entered the building. Luo. Hua Ro read. Luo also frowned. Yi Chun. Hua Luo said. Mu Bai. He might be able to kill some of them, but there were too many of them. Even he would not be able to kill so many of them in such a short amount of time. Ti Chun White of. White he. Bai Sei frowned and clenched his fists as if he had made up his mind. What's wrong with you? Meng. Bai Sei clenched his fists. I'm 60% sure that he has a fire elemental sprite. Even if he doesn't, he definitely has a high-level divine fire. His words were filled with sincerity and certainty. Hua Jianro took a deep breath and looked into Bai's eyes. Why do you say that? That map is a fire element map. Bai Sei bit his lip and explained the details of the map to Lin Huang. Fire elemental soldiers. A map formed purely from the fire element. Pseudo-boss stations. When Bai Sei said this, even Hua Jianro doubted what kind of fire Yi Zichen had. Lil White, don't be too impulsive, Hua Jianro comforted. Bai Yu was on the alien race's wanted list. A few years ago, they went to a planet outside of Planet Een and were ambushed. If it weren't for the fact that there was a titled emperor on that planet, they would have died at the hands of the alien race. From then on, their family elders reminded them that Bai Yu was on the alien race's wanted list. In order to ensure her safety, Bai Yu's family remodeled Planet Een. Hua Jianro, the flame rat, Meng Luo, and the other family heirs were left on Planet Een. As long as they didn't leave Planet Een, the alien race couldn't do anything to him. This was the truth. Their years on Planet Een had been very safe. However, the alien race wouldn't give up just because they didn't succeed. They were more patient than expected in order to kill the human elites. In the history of the human race, there was a case in the Milky Way. The master of the Milky Way's prized disciple was ambushed by the alien race. The master of the Milky Way personally saved him. After that, his disciple stayed on the Milky Way's silver planet. He stayed there for 20,000 years. When he became a titled emperor, the Human Race Alliance sent him on a mission. However, he was killed by the alien race less than 2 hours after he left the silver planet. The alien race sent a total of 15 titled emperors and a king. The humans were furious. With the Milky Way taking the lead, they sent many titled emperors, marquises, kings, and sovereigns. They went from the battlefield to the alien race's star region. They slaughtered hundreds of millions of alien race beings. Even so, the master of the Milky Way's disciple never returned. At the same time, this gave the humans a signal. The alien race. They were patient. While being protected, they wouldn't forcefully kill a well-protected target. They would wait. During this period of time, the target would always be under their surveillance. It didn't matter if the target leveled up or obtained a weapon or equipment. The alien race would keep a record. Everything was waiting for the target to leave the protection. When that time came, they would kill the target at all costs. Of course, the situation of the master of the Milky Way's disciple was rather special. At the time, he was hailed as a rare genius of the human race. Whether it was in terms of luck or talent, he was so amazing that no one could ignore him. At the time, people treated him as the second master of the Milky Way. One master of the Milky Way was already a headache for the alien race. If there was another one, for the future of the race, the alien race had to kill him, even if they had to pay a heavy price. At this time, Say was on the wanted list. There were likely spies of the alien race on planet Een. If she left planet Een now, the alien race would definitely be prepared to attack her. Whether it was from the perspective of the human race or from the perspective of their childhood friends, she didn't want Bayou to leave planet Een, unless an overlord was traveling with her. However, overlords and sovereigns were the core higher-ups of the human universe. No one would follow a junior closely just to protect them. Even Bayou's elders couldn't do that. They all had more important things to deal with. Then, from the looks of it, the only solution was to prevent Bayou from leaving. Chapter 21:34. It seemed simple, but it was actually very difficult. Bayou had mentioned more than once that she wanted to meet the future reality. In other words, she had a deep obsession in her heart. Her heart urged her to see the future. So far, Hua Jianro had not thought of a suitable solution. Little White, let's take our time to think about this. Trust me. Hua Jianro grasped Bayou's hand. Don't leave planet Een. I'll think of a way to get future planet Een to find us. Is that all right? Aye. Baisei pursed his lips. Seeing that Baisei's expression had softened a little, Hua Jianro immediately made her decision. It's settled then. Stay on planet Een obediently. Don't even think about sneaking away. I will always be by your side. Even if you go to the toilet, I will follow you. Hua Jianro snorted lightly and looked at the mailbox. Meng Luo, where did you go? I'm going to sell my equipment. Dream Luo said in the party voice chat. Future God told me to sell all the white equipment to the equipment shop. I'm at the blacksmith shop now. This miser. Hearing this, Hua Jianro could not help but complain. Even if he was short on money, he was already making a lot of money by bringing others to clear dungeons every day. Millions of universe credits entered his account every day. Many universe warlord level experts, or rather commanders, didn't earn as much as him. It was already like this. Moreover, he had to scrounge up a small amount of money every day to sell his white equipment to the equipment shop. What about blue equipment? Keep the blue equipment. Future God said that it's too much of a loss to sell the blue equipment to shops. We can earn more if we sell it to players, Dream Luo replied. Bah, miser, who's talking behind my back? Yi Zichen rubbed his sore nose, then squatted down to pick up the equipment. The current situation was really like picking up money until one's hand cramps. The fire elemental sprite absorbed a fire elemental soldier every 30 seconds. Each soldier would drop about 5 galaxy dollars, 3 to 5 pieces of equipment, and some materials. At this time, Yi Zichen had already been here for more than 4 hours. Acting tough, had collected almost 2,000 items, countless unappraised runes, and more than 20 Path of the Braveheart dungeon scrolls. In other words, not counting the equipment and runes, the scroll had already earned him 3 million universe dollars. This was much better than painstakingly carrying the EXP vehicle. More importantly, leveling up here was also fast. In 4 hours, Yi Zichen leveled up from level 50 to level 52. His leveling speed was like a rocket. There was one more important thing: elemental soldiers. When he first came here, the elemental soldiers were level 60, 10 levels higher than him. Now, the elemental soldier was level 62, still 10 levels higher than Surephone. That was to say, the level of the elemental soldiers here would increase according to the level of the players, or in other words, when viewed by different players, the elemental soldier's level would be 10 levels higher than the players. Yi Zichen had no way of verifying this, because he was the only one here. It could be said that this was a good place to collect equipment and level up. The only pity was the efficiency of nurturing elemental soldiers in the lava lake was too low. It produced one every 15 minutes. If he cleared out the fire elemental soldiers now, he would have to wait a long time before he could get such a number of soldiers again. I'll have to discuss this with Bai Sei when I go out. Bai Sei was the one who discovered this special map. Yi Zichen wanted to talk to her about not telling anyone else about it. For such a good place, the fewer people who knew about it, the better. As for how to discuss it, everything was fine. Yi Zichen knew how to bargain a bit. Yi Zichen sorted out a pile of equipment and opened his personal mailbox. He could send emails at any time, but he could only receive them in his mailbox. Every time he sent a reply, he would need 500 star coins. Pained. Ding. The other party's mailbox is full. If you continue to send, the other party will not be able to receive mail. What? It's full. Will the mailbox still be full? Meng Luo. What is it, great deity? What's going on? Yi Zichen frowned in confusion. Why is your mailbox full? Didn't you go and sell your equipment? I did, said Meng Luo. My backpack is already full. I can't retrieve the equipment in the mail. What the F***? What am I supposed to do? How about you send it to Sister Hua? I don't trust her. Yi Zichen frowned. Yi Zichen frowned. At that moment, Hua Jinro suddenly popped up from the screen. What do you mean? Would I steal your equipment? You're here. Send it to me. I won't steal your crappy equipment. Do you think everyone is like you, treating white and blue equipment like treasures? Hua Jinro twitched her mouth. What's wrong with white and blue equipment? You haven't worn them before. Yi Zichen was a bit unhappy that she looked down on white and blue equipment so much. I have a lot of equipment. Do you have enough space in your mailbox? It's empty. If you have the ability, then fill in my mailbox too. When mine's full, send it to Lil White. When Lil White's full, send it to the Flame Rat. I don't believe that the four of us can't store all your equipment. Why are you like this? It's not like we're arguing. When Yi Zichen saw Hua Jinro's expression, he wondered if she was on her period. Speaking of which, did universe females have ants? As humans, they should have. All right, then I'll send it to you. Don't cheat me of my equipment. I have a good memory. I know exactly what equipment I gave you. Also, don't give me any less money from selling the equipment, said Yi Zichen. Just send it. I don't need that bit of equipment. I have a lot of equipment. It's not just a bit, it's a bunch. You have more. You have more. Then fill up our mailbox. If it's full, then I, Hua Jinro, will treat you to a big meal in real life and let you enjoy the treatment of a king. You said it. I said it. Yi Zichen rubbed his nose and couldn't help but shrug when he thought about Hua Jinro's furious look. Why was a woman so angry? So anxious to raise flags? So young. He's going to piss me off. Hua Jinro clenched her teeth. Lil White, don't be with this kind of person. Look at how stingy he is. If the two of you live together in the future, I really don't know how much suffering you're going to have. There's nothing between us. Bai Sei shrugged. He's going to piss me off? I've never met such a stingy man in my life. Hua Jinro let out a deep sigh. At the same time, a mail arrived. White equipment. I still have to run errands for him. Hua Jinro stood in front of her mailbox and looked at the endless mail and equipment. For some reason, a hint of a smile flashed across her eyes. Hey, didn't I say that I treated him to a big meal in real life just now? Yeah, And you said that you're going to let the great god enjoy the treatment of a king. The flame rat shrugged. Ha ha ha, I'm so smart. Hua Jinro laughed excitedly. Lil White, look, isn't this fine? Chapter 2135. What? Bai Sei tilted his head in confusion when he saw Hua Jinro's excited expression and her somewhat incoherent speech. Reality. Reality. Hua Jinro held her small white hand. With this miser's personality, he'll definitely take advantage of the situation. Just now, I said that if he fills up our 4 mailboxes, I'll treat him to a feast in real life. Will he come? Bai Sei frowned. I think so. Hua Jinro nodded heavily. We can send someone to pick him up. I can use my collectible F-grade space battleship to pick him up. Sister Hua, you're really generous, the flame rat exclaimed. What can I do? If I don't do this, your sister Xiao Ba will find her mister right on her own. As her elder sister, there's nothing I can do. Hua Jinro shrugged. Bai Sei was too lazy to explain himself. All right, I welcome the great god to planet Een as a guest. Meng Luo waved her little hand. The flame rat also grinned. I also want to meet the future great god. Then it settled. Hua Jinro clapped her hands. From now on, don't retrieve any emails sent to us in the future. Just let me full. Understood. Ding, the other party's mailbox is full. Ding, the other party's mailbox is full. Ding, the other party's mailbox is full. Yi Zichen's eyes were filled with despair as he looked at the equipment on the ground that had not been picked up, as well as the message that their mailbox was full. It couldn't be. All full. He did not seem to have given too many pieces of equipment to Hua Jinro, Bai Sei, and Flame Rat. There were about 200 fire elemental soldiers in front of him. There was still a lot of equipment on the ground that hadn't been picked up. Video request. Future Great God. Thank you, Great God. I know I was wrong. You really have a lot of equipment. It's my loss. If I'm lucky. Shut up. Yi Zichen frowned when he saw Hua Jinro bow in the video. Did you do it on purpose? Huh? How did I do it on purpose? Hua Jinro's heart skipped a beat. What on purpose? Miss, I know I'm very charming, but you don't have to be so explicit. Huh? I gave Monroe more than 2,000 pieces of equipment before she was full. How come it's full after sending you 1,000 pieces? I get it now. You were angry before because you wanted to make a bet with me. You wanted to find an excuse to have dinner with me, right? It was too fake. Yi Zichen wasn't an idiot. The weakest person who entered the novice village was at least at the domain stage. He had a good memory. Their mailbox was filled with 1,000 pieces of equipment, which meant that they hadn't collected them yet. At first, Yi Zichen didn't think that way. The reason he sent the video was to remind them to extract the equipment. He still had a pile of equipment waiting to be distributed. Who would have thought that Hua Jinro would immediately bow and apologize? His words were deliberate. He touched his handsome face silently. This damn charm. All right, hurry up and clear your inbox. I still have a lot of equipment to send out, said Yi Zichen. No problem, go ahead. Closing the video, Hua Jinro clenched her fists. I told you, the Almighty can't be that stupid. Looking at the equipment in the mailbox, the flame rat shrugged. There are 1,000 slots in all the backpacks, so the mailbox can store 1,000 items. We can actually store more than 2,500 pieces of white equipment. What did you say that? Hua Jinro glared at him. You only know how to talk after the fact. He's found out. What should we do? Bai Sei frowned. Execute Plan B. Hua Jinro smiled confidently. Don't be afraid. Everything is under control. With that, Hua Jinro squinted her eyes toward the auction house. After exposing Hua Jinro's intentions, the equipment could be sent to their mailboxes once again without any obstructions. There weren't many elemental soldiers left in the special map. At that moment, Yi Zichen didn't need Lil Fire to kick the equipment anymore. He could already enter and pick them up. He had wanted to do it himself to increase efficiency. The fire elemental refused. There was no helping it. Yi Zichen could only be a diligent Lil Bee picking up equipment. Approximately 2 hours later, all of the fire elemental soldiers were cleared out. The fire elemental soldiers were still being nurtured in the lava lake, but waiting here was a waste of time. His journey in the land of the elements had already come to an end. Yi Zichen gained a lot from this map exploration. His backpack was filled with equipment, all of which were gold and dark gold. In the mail he sent to Meng Luo and company, there were also large amounts of gold equipment. I feel like I'm about to level up. The fire elemental fairy clenched her fists and couldn't help but say as she felt the energy in her body. Level up. Yeah, I have a feeling that I'm about to enter my teenage phase. The fire elemental fairy still had the appearance of a baby, but he had already grown a lot taller compared to when Yi Zichen first met him. Are you sure? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Roughly how many more elemental soldiers do you need to absorb? Around 100, the fire elemental fairy replied. Then let's wait here for a while. Although waiting for 100 would take a lot of time, Yi Zichen was willing to spend that time and leave after the fire elemental fairy broke through. Childhood and teenage phase. Although Yi Zichen didn't know how much of a change there would be, the difference in strength would definitely be like heaven and earth. No need. The fire elemental fairy shook his head. When absorbing these elemental powers, my senses also started to sharpen. I feel that there are even higher level fire elementals in the depths of this elemental land. General, Yi Zichen already suspected that there was a fire elemental general here. The fire elemental fairy's words confirmed his suspicions even more. Then what are we waiting for? Go. Follow me. The fire elemental fairy walked in front. The deeper they went, the denser the fire elemental became. Kill the fire elemental soldiers. This permanently increased Yi Zichen's fire elemental attack and fire elemental defense by 42%, together with the flame robe that the fire elemental gave him. Even so, his HP was still plummeting. Wait a minute. Yi Zichen stopped the fire elemental sprite. He could not continue forward. If he did, then he would be burned alive. He opened his backpack, fire elemental set. After killing several thousand elemental soldiers, he had long since reached level 55. He could now wear elemental equipment sets. The suit was put on. Yi Zichen's fire resistance instantly increased by a large amount. The fire elements around him were no longer scorching hot. Ding! Because you're the first player to equip an elemental set, the system rewards you with 5 luck points. There was no system announcement. This was even better. If he made a system announcement, everyone would think of him. Reward: 5 luck points. Due to the boss's first kill and the various rewards, Yi Zichen's luck had already reached 34 points. The higher the luck attribute, the better. However, even though Yi Zichen was wearing the elemental set, the damage caused by the elemental burn was not something that he could endure. Xiaohua, why don't you go take a look yourself? Chapter 2136. Humiliation. The 5 elements entering the Tao. At that moment, when facing the fire element, one of the 5 elements, he was actually unable to advance. As expected of a land of elements. Normal people really couldn't control this sort of dense elemental energy. At the very least, Yi Zichen was unable to control it, nor was he able to resist the burning of the fire element. For this game, actually, Yi Zichen gradually understood the meaning of this game. In short, this was actually a second world where everything was digitized. In reality, humans could only make rough guesses about certain things. This game turned everything into data. You could see your own attributes here, allowing you to have a better understanding of yourself. This was the case for the Land of Elements. Yi Zichen couldn't resist the burning of the elements. If he wanted to continue forward, then he had to stay with the elemental soldiers for a while longer to raise his elemental resistance. A rough estimate. He still needed to raise it by around 40. In other words, he needed to kill another 2,000 elemental soldiers. All right, wait for me outside. The fire elemental fairy walked in alone. The fire elemental sprite walked in alone. He was a sprite born from the fire element, so the fire element naturally posed no threat to him. Hearing that, Yi Zichen retreated several hundred meters. He wasn't too worried about anything happening to the fire elemental fairy. The only unfortunate thing was that he might not be able to pick up any equipment. I'm so jealous. The elemental fairies all came out. Why did you guys come out? Ezichin raised his eyebrows. Big brother is about to enter his teenage phase. We can all feel it, so we came out to take a look. The water elemental sprite said lazily, holding an elemental crystal in its hand. I don't like it here. Such dense fire element. The lightning elemental fairy reached out its hand lazily. Is this the game world? Why would there be a land of elements in the game? This doesn't seem like it was created by data. It's a game, but I don't know why there are a land of elements. Ezichin shrugged. I'm about to finish my elemental crystals, the lightning elemental fairy said. I'll buy some for you guys, Ezichin shrugged. These elemental fairies really ate elemental crystals quickly, especially the lightning elemental crystals. They were extremely expensive. Hurry up, I don't want to fall too far behind him. With that, the lightning elemental fairy returned to Ezichin's arm. Hey, fourth bro is jealous. The lightning elemental fairy raised its eyebrows. Land of elements, I'm a bit jealous as well. Imperial Star, if you have the time, try to find a lightning primal ground. The lightning element also drilled into his arm, leaving behind a cute wind elemental elf lowly outside. Wind begets fire. The fire element was not much of a threat to the wind, unlike fire to water. It was a confrontation between two extremes. Wind baby, is the wind elemental crystal delicious? Delicious. The wind elemental elf squinted his eyes with a smile. His entire face was brimming with smiles. I'll buy you something better in a few days. It's the same for them. If it's just me, then forget it, Baby Wind said in a childish voice. It's all the same. Ezichin's eyes were filled with gentleness as he rubbed the wind elemental fairy's head. Among these elemental spirits, he liked Wind the most. She was well-behaved and sensible, and she didn't have any bad habits. That's great. Thank you, Emperor Star. The wind elemental sprite thanked him sweetly, then tilted her head and looked around for a long time. Suddenly, she frowned. Is this the abandoned elemental land? What is an abandoned elemental land? It's the elemental origin ground that the elemental spirits have already left. I'm not sure, Ezichin shrugged. Ezichin shrugged. I came here by chance, but what Lil Fire said earlier seems to be an abandoned land. Is that so? Baby Wind frowned, then squinted his eyes and smiled. Big Brother Fire is more skilled in the fire element. I might have sensed it wrong. What is it? I don't think this is an abandoned land. Before Baby Wind finished, a pillar of fire suddenly appeared in front of them. Not long later, a long line of fire ran out from the depths of the lava. Lil Fire, F***CK run. The fire elemental sprite dragged the wind elemental sprite onto Ezichin's arm. Just as Ezichin was lost in thought, 1746. Minus 2,796. Minus 4,257. F***CK. Why did it suddenly drop so much? Not only that, the surrounding lava lake also started to go berserk. The soldiers that were only born after 15 minutes continuously crawled out of the lava lake. F***CK. Ezichin gulped down a bottle of health serum. 1,000 HP was completely useless in this sort of situation. He took out the city return sigil. You are currently locked. You cannot return to the city. F***CK. Ezichin punched with all his might, but his eyes were instantly engulfed in flames. When he came back to his senses at the revival point of the novice village, he was instantly killed. He didn't even manage to see who attacked him before he was instantly killed and sent back to the city. He checked his game log. You have already been killed. Equipment dropped. He dropped 20 pieces of equipment. Ezichin's backpack was filled with gold and dark gold equipment. These 20 pieces of equipment were going to kill him. He quickly opened his backpack. It was fortunate that they were all gold equipment. If they were dark gold equipment, then he really would want to commit suicide. Just what the hell is this? I killed him. Ezichin couldn't help but mutter. He returned to level 54. Since he had already equipped the equipment, the stats were still in effect. However, if he took it off, he wouldn't be able to equip it anymore. At the same time, Ezichin's private messages also exploded. Flame Rat. Great God. How did you die? Meng Luo is a lowly, great god? Hua Jinro, what happened? Bye-bye. Tianhai, what happened? Rouge Rouge, who dares to kill my man? Tell me, I'll kill him. Blue Shield Family 0713, what happened? Everyone who knew Yi Zichen messaged him. Yi Zichen had always been number 1 on the level leaderboards. However, he suddenly dropped a level, so everyone cared about it. Yi Zichen replied to them one by one. Baifeng invited you to join the team. Ding. Baifeng invited you to a video call. Confirm. How did you die? Who did it? Was it the Overlord Alliance? Or was he killed by a monster? Don't tell me he was really killed by a monster. Baifeng said a bunch of things the moment she accepted the video call. You're right, I was insta-killed by a monster. Insta-kill? Baifeng was no longer a gaming idiot during the past half a month. She clearly understood what Yi Zichen's level and equipment meant. He actually insta-killed him. What level was the boss? 100, that's a bit awkward. I was insta-killed before I even saw the monster. Yi Zichen shrugged. F***CK. I don't even know what happened. I was sent back to the city the moment I saw it. That's strong? Baifeng raised her eyebrows. I'll talk to you later. I still have some things to do. I'll find you later and give you the Holy Spirit Fruit Fragment. Okay. After the video call ended, Yi Zichen let out a deep sigh. Lil Fire. Chapter 21:37. Level 55, Dark Gold Set. Runestone Bonus. Fire Elemental Resistance Bonus. Yi Zichen, despite all of that, actually no. They didn't even see each other. He didn't even see who did it. All he saw was a huge red figure appear. Then he returned to the beginner village's respawn point. Are you alright? The fire elemental spirit asked in Yi Zichen's sea of consciousness. What happened just now? Aren't you a fire elemental spirit? Why were you so scared of a fire elemental? Yi Zichen frowned. I am a fire elemental spirit, but that is the origin of the elements. Didn't I say from the start? The relationship between us elemental spirits is terrible, said the fire elemental spirit. Don't tell me there are elemental spirits there. Yi Zichen's heart suddenly tensed up. I'm not sure, the fire elemental spirit replied. At first, I thought that it was an abandoned elemental land, but now I'm not so sure anymore. But I didn't see any other elemental spirits. I only saw higher-leveled fire elemental generals and commanders. Generals and commanders? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. That's right. Actually, we were just at the outermost area of the elemental land. There are higher-leveled fire elemental spirits. Generals, commanders, marquis. The fire elemental spirit sounded a bit embarrassed. I couldn't help but show off in front of the marquis. The one that killed me was the marquis. Yes. All right. Yi Zichen didn't blame the fire elemental for finding trouble. If he had the ability, he would go and take a look at the marquis as well. What surprised him was there were so many levels of fire elemental spirits in the elemental land. Generals, commanders, marquis. If the fire elemental soldiers were already fake bosses, then what level would these higher-leveled fire elemental spirits be? Too bad I didn't let you level up, Yi Zichen shrugged. It's okay. I need to digest and absorb so much fire elemental energy. It's better not to be in too much of a hurry to break through. The fire elemental spirit smiled. All right, anyone could tell that it was comforting itself. If they could break through, who would be willing to give up? Since they had already left the special map, that was the only thing they could think of. Don't go to the elemental land for now, the fire elemental spirit suddenly said. What? The elemental marquis in that elemental land is already on alert. He is an intelligent fire elemental. Knowing that there are foreign fire elemental spirits devouring the elements of their starting ground, he naturally has to be fully prepared. Understood. Yi Zichen nodded. He could understand all of this. In the beginning, they were able to devour the elemental soldiers without fear because no one had ever invaded the elemental origin. Baisei made a trip there. They were also killed by the fire elementals there. This time, Yi Zichen entered and absorbed as much fire elemental energy as he could, completely absorbing the fire elemental soldiers. As the marquis of the primordial land, the elements were absorbed by the elements of the outside world. It was his negligence. In order to prevent this from happening in the future, he would naturally make careful arrangements. Perhaps the next time he entered the elemental land, the monster activity area would change. In the short term, Yi Zichen truly didn't want to go to that damn place again. The level of the elemental army marquis was unknown. He did not want to be inexplicably killed and sent back to the city. Yi Zichen rubbed his nose, then recalled what Tanuki said, "Tell him to go to the grocery store." Almost a day had passed, and he didn't know if it was too late to go now. He hurried to the grocery store. Deficit again. The grocery store owner sat on a chair and calculated his income for the day with a troubled expression. This grocery store was a store that had been in the beginner village since the beginning. It mainly sold daily necessities such as talismans that increased attack, talismans that increased defense. Occasionally, the store would also buy some equipment and materials. However, the players were not too interested in the talismans, and the equipment was not as good as the equipment sold at the blacksmith shop. As for the materials, the players had no need for them at all. Until now, since there were no secondary professions in the game, so the materials were naturally not consumed. The grocery store's business was declining day by day. "Boss! Oh, brave warrior from another world. Is there anything I can help you with? Our grocery store had new materials last night. Do you want to take a look?" Seeing the customer, the grocery store owner quickly put away his troubled expression and smiled. "You seem to have run into some sort of trouble." Yi Zichen flipped through the items in the grocery store. They were all rather normal talismans that increased attack by a few points, or some high-level white equipment. Among the materials, clear spirit water shard. 5,000 galactic coins. Isn't this shard one of the materials that Baifeng needs? Yi Zichen muttered to himself. None of the monsters he fought had dropped anything. I didn't expect to get 2 shards in one day. Baifeng's luck is truly good. Aya. The grocery store owner sighed deeply. To be honest, there's no helping it. I can make ends meet. If this continues, I won't be able to survive. Perhaps the store really did give him too much pressure. Thus, he started to complain to Yi Zichen. It was all trivial matters. For example, his children needed money to go to school, or his elders were seriously ill, so he had to spend a large amount of money to see a doctor. In order to satisfy the needs of the otherworldly warriors, he had to stock up frequently. Since he couldn't sell his goods, the burden of his family and the lack of business made it hard for him to breathe. As you can see, my store is the most deserted out of all the stores in the village. No one has come here for so long. The grocery store owner smiled wryly. At that moment, what Yi Zichen was thinking about was, why did Ollie ask me to come here? Could it be because of this shard? How did she know that I needed it? Even if she did, she should know that it was Baifeng who needed it, not him. "Shopkeeper, I want to buy this clear spirit water shard." No matter what Ollie's intentions were, Yi Zichen had to get this shard. "You can't." To his surprise, the grocery store owner shook his head. Not long ago, someone pre-ordered this shard and even paid a 10% deposit. F*CK. Yi Zichen cursed in his heart. "I can pay more. The deposit isn't the final deal. Since it hasn't been sold yet, it still belongs to you. I can pay you double." "No." The grocery store owner was visibly moved by the double price, but he still shook his head in refusal. Double was already very high. "You're refusing even that?" Yi Zichen's brows furrowed even deeper. After a while, "You really want this shard?" "That's right. Then, how about you buy all of my stores?" Chapter 21:38. Buy a shop. Yi Zichen was stunned for a long while after hearing the shop owner's words. "You can sell your shop?" "Of course." The owner of the grocery store nodded. "This store belongs to me, so it's up to me to decide whether to sell or keep it. So, are you going to buy it or not? If you buy it, all the goods here will belong to you, and the fragments of the clear spirit water will naturally belong to you as well." Indeed, he did not want to continue his business. He no longer had the confidence to continue operating the shop due to the losses it had incurred. While the losses were not serious, it was better to strike as soon as possible. Would you buy it? Of course he had to buy it. Even if there weren't any fragments of clear spirit water, Yi Zichen would definitely buy them from the general store. Now, he roughly understood. Little Tanuki had asked him to come here to buy a shop. He had mentioned the shop to little Tanuki before. At that time, he still did not believe that little Tanuki was a member of the virtual world group. Later, all signs pointed to the fact that he really did belong to the Virtual World Corporation. Now that he was in the shop, Yi Zichen was sure of his identity. How much do you want? 2 million galaxy dollars. The grocery store owner stretched out 2 fingers. The store is yours, and all the goods in my store are also yours. Don't bargain with me. This is the lowest price I can accept. Sure. Yi Zichen clenched his teeth. 2 million galaxy dollars was equivalent to 200 universe dollars. According to the game's current 3,000 times ratio, it was equivalent to 600,000 universe dollars in real life. The price of one shop was still acceptable. The problem was no one could take out so much money right now. Even Yi Zichen only had 13 universe credits in his backpack, and that was only because many people had sent him private messages to convert the quota into his income. I need time to prepare, Yi Zichen frowned. Then you better hurry up. You said the same thing to the person who took a fancy to the clear spirit water. He has already left for a while. Very soon, 5,000 galaxy dollars. Online purchases also took some time. Because the game had to be audited, the seller could receive the buyer's money immediately, but the buyer had to wait for a certain period of time before the game currency would enter his backpack. Milky Way Communication Group. Future at all city members. Rouge Face Powder. Empress Almighty, I love you. Future. Don't mess around. I have something to say. Future. Who has more game coins? Sell some to me. I'm willing to buy it at a ratio of 5,000 times. Future. The more people who sell to me, the more I will consider bringing them to the instance dungeon. The number of game coins required is 2,900,000 galaxy credits. Future. I am in the Novice Village grocery store. After sending the message, Yi Zichen returned to the game and waited in front of the grocery store. In less than half a minute, a female player appeared in front of the grocery store. Cold Mist Snow, LVL 43-inch. Is he the future almighty? You are. I'm one of the Empress's people. Big Sister asked me to give you the game tokens. Immediately after, the other side sent a trading emoji. It was a total of 3 million galaxy dollars. Account. Big Sister said that it's not necessary. Han Yinxue shook her head. She said that these are betrothal gifts from the Empress. She wants you to attend the ceremony earlier. What the hell? Yi Zichen's face darkened, although he didn't know what was in Rouge's head. Go back and thank the Rouge and Cosmetics for me. All right. Han Yinxue left with a smile. Yi Zichen couldn't help but click his tongue when he saw the 3 million credits in his backpack. As an unaffiliated player, he was much weaker than a gang. He spent 3 million at once. How about I raise a flag as well? Yi Zichen muttered to himself, but he quickly dismissed the idea. He wasn't the type of person skilled in management. None of the current members of the Upheaval Alliance were either. By phone, killing was fine. He didn't know which novice village little Tanuki was in. Bei was still in a low-level novice village. Unaffiliated players had their own advantages. They didn't need to worry about gang activities. They could do whatever they wanted. There was no need to create a gang with thousands of members. It was good enough to have a faction icon to enjoy experience bonuses. With 3 million galaxy dollars in his account, Yi Zichen felt a bit more confident. He hadn't expected to be so lucky. If nothing out of the ordinary happened, another faction would be enough. He'd waited outside in case someone came to buy the fragments. Excuse me, are you the future almighty? A youth walked up to him. Stillwilla, LV44. When he saw the prefix, Yi Zichen knew he was from the Steel family. I'm from the Steel family. I know. Our big brother Keck asked me to give you the game tokens, said Stillwilla. Sterula spoke up. Yi Zichen also smiled. I still need 600,000. Just give me 600,000. So fast. Stillwilla was stunned for a moment. I brought 2 million. I didn't expect someone to be faster than us. Yeah. Yi Zichen received the trade request. 60 galaxy dollars in his account. Don't mention the account. This is a friendly gift from us, the Steel family. It's fine as long as you can take us to the dungeon faster. We've waited for a long time. We've always wanted to experience just how great the Almighty's experience car is. Haha, no problem. Yi Zichen hurried back into the shop after watching the Steele family leave. When he entered the shop owner's expression was no longer as troubled as before. Instead, he seemed to be in high spirits. Warrior, I believe you've already gathered enough money, right? Here's 2 million. Yi Zichen took out a large bag of money. At the same time, a notification appeared in front of his eyes. Esteemed player, in the future, you will purchase a shop in the North City district of the Novice Village. It requires 2 million Galaxy dollars. After the purchase, the rights to the shop will belong to you. You have the right to expand, remodel, and sell goods. Do you confirm? Confirm. Ah, I wish you a prosperous business. After the game coins were deducted, the shop owner left the shop with a bright smile. He didn't bring any goods with him. It was already stated during the trade that everything here belonged to Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen took out the fragment of clear spirit water from goods. Then, he put it into his backpack. Only then did Yi Zichen let out a long sigh. Future Almighty? Another player appeared outside the door. Meng Luo. Almighty, I've come to give you game coins. You're late. That's enough. Yi Zichen walked out of the shop and patted Meng Luo's head. Thank you. Oh, okay. Meng Luo blinked. Almighty, why did you come out of the shop? Players could enter the shop. However, Meng Luo saw that Yi Zichen clearly walked out of the shop, which was where the shop owner was. Players were not allowed to enter that place. This shop belongs to me now. Yi Zichen tilted his head. Tell Hua Jinro and company to come over. Give me all the equipment. I'm going to open the shop. Chapter 2139. Meng Luo's visit. This caused Yi Zichen to think of notifying them in the group. Future at all members future. I already have enough game coins. Special thanks to Rouge, Empress, Steelkirk, Steel Family, Rouge Face Powder, Empress He, Steelcase family, you're welcome. Returning Windblade, Jiang Shan, I'm so angry. We just spent all our game coins yesterday. Jingling, Ling Corporation us too. Blue Shield Clan 0713, Blue Shield Clan, no, I'm selling my game currency. I've already collected a lot of it at a rate of 7,000 times. Tianhai, God Territory Ha. Some people were happy while others were sad. Yi Zichen was rather surprised that the Blue Shield family was actually collecting game coins at a rate of 7,000 times. Of course, it could also be an excuse to show off. Yi Zichen left the group and returned to the game. Meng Luo's eyes were filled with surprise as she ran around the store. Great God, you're really amazing to be able to buy a shop. Huh. Yi Zichen did not dare to get too cocky. One of the reasons why he was able to purchase a shop was because he had obtained inside information from the Virtual World Corporation. Yi Zichen was actually a bit confused. Why was little Tanuki helping him? He didn't have much contact with the Virtual World Corporation, and Xin Yuanxiang only knew him because they had known each other for a long time. Impossible, little Tanuki is Shea, right? Yi Zichen was stunned. But if it was Shea, why didn't she tell him? Furthermore, she should not have been able to become a core member of the Virtual World Corporation so quickly. He couldn't understand. Yi Zichen shrugged, then sat on a chair in the shop. Level 1 shop, unnamed, employees, none-shop merchandise. As the shop owner, Yi Zichen was able to check the shop's information at will. This included the profits of the shop and every item sold. He took out all the goods from the grocery store and threw them into the store's warehouse. Yi Zichen did not plan on continuing the mess of the general goods store. He had seen it just now. This sundry goods store really didn't make any profit. If it continued to sell those talismans that didn't improve one's cultivation, it would definitely make a huge loss. He wanted to sell his equipment. A level 1 shop could sell 500 items. Their numbers were still a little low. Level up. Ding, please name the shop. The number 1 business group in the universe. Yi Zichen casually typed a line of words. Actually, it was a bit similar to the 8 titans of the universe, but when he looked at it, he felt like it was too dumb. He deleted all the words in equipment shop. It was low-key, luxurious, and meaningful. Yi Zichen nodded in satisfaction. Confirm. Ding. Full server announcement. Galaxy Novice Village has obtained the first shop in the future. Rewards. Legend Shop Manager Chicano and Legend Worker Winnie. Ding. Server-wide announcement. Ding. Server-wide announcement. Full service, Yi Zichen gulped when he saw the colorful system notification. This is let him enter the eyes of the entire universe in advance. The news just came out. The speakers in the game did not stop. Rouge and face powder. Almighty, I love you. You're so handsome. Tian Hai. Congratulations, congratulations. Road to the ends of the earth. The future great god is really amazing with a single brilliant feat. I'm going to report this to the game company. Is there anyone who wants to form a group? Blue Sky, damn. Itchy Heart. I'm going to. Damn. He's gotten all the benefits of the game. I suspect he's manipulating the game. Rouge and makeup. Let me see who dares. Returning Windblade. I want to report it too. Returning Windblade. Oh my god, this is too awkward. I got the wrong number. Yi Zichen couldn't help but laugh when he saw returning Windblade's message. Everyone in this game could only be bound to one character. What he said just now was actually a joke. While the game was busy, Yi Zichen also made an advertisement. Future, an equipment store in the north of the city will start operating in half an hour. Welcome. The speaker sounded out. Yi Zichen looked towards the equipment store. Mythical level store manager, Chicano, LV 500. This store manager was a middle-aged man of around 50 years old. He wore a pair of golden glasses, while his face was filled with gentleness. He had an excellent ability to identify the market. Loyalty, 100. Mythical level employee, Winnie, LV 500. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and some cute freckles on her face. Loyalty, 100. Master. The two of them greeted Yi Zichen at the same time. The store employees were divided into 9 levels. Normal, good, excellent, elite, perfect, excellent, legend, mythical. Chicano and Winnie were both at the top of the employees. Their abilities were naturally incomparable to others as well. Yi Zichen clicked to upgrade the store. He wanted to upgrade it before, but he didn't succeed because he didn't name it. Upgrading the store costs 100,000 galaxy credits. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. Meng Luo, how much money do you have? 150,000, said Meng Luo. Give it to me. Okay. Meng Luo handed the token over to Yi Zichen without any hesitation. Upgrade. Rumble, the store, which was originally around 100 square meters, was expanded to 200 square meters. The entire store became a lot more spacious. The only downside was that the store was a bit messy. Watch me. Winnie seemed to have noticed Yi Zichen's distress. She quickly got busy in the store, and in less than 5 minutes, the entire store looked brand new. Wow. Meng Luo also covered her mouth in shock. It would be great if I had a big sister like this in my home. She's so clean. Master. Winnie tilted her head. Awesome. Yi Zichen gave her a thumbs up. Don't call me master, just call me boss. Boss. Winnie was filled with energy, while Chicano was much calmer. Boss, what do we need to sell? Oh, these are for you. Yi Zichen chucked all of the equipment over. These equipment, don't worry, boss. I know the market prices of all the goods. Just give them to me. I definitely won't do any unprofitable business. Don't worry, Chicano said solemnly. This was the confidence of the legendary store manager, knowing the market prices of all the goods. Yi Zichen did not doubt it, since it was much easier this way. Winnie placed the equipment in the store. Chicano set the price. Yi Zichen specifically looked at the prices of the equipment and found that there was nothing wrong with them. What's more, the price that Chicano set was a bit higher than what Yi Zichen expected. He's a professional. I'll just trust him. Meng Luo, what are Hua Jianro and company doing? Why aren't they here yet? It had already been 10-odd minutes, but Hua Jianro and company still hadn't appeared. The novice village wasn't small, but it wasn't to the point where they couldn't get there after so long. What's more, it was impossible for them to wander around in the wilderness with their bags full of equipment. Hearing that, Meng Luo's face stiffened. It was clear that she was hiding something from Yi Zichen, but she still shook her head. I don't know anything. Chapter 2140. Meng Luo said that she didn't know. However, her expression clearly said that they were indeed doing something, but she couldn't say it. Little girl, she's still too pure. Since they can't come for now, then give me the equipment in your bag. Okay. The trade of 50 pieces of equipment took several tens of rounds before it ended. Along the way, Yi Zichen's bag was filled once, and he handed all of the equipment to Chicano before completing the trade, since he sent the equipment to Meng Luo rather early. The equipment in Meng Luo's bag was mainly white and blue equipment. There was almost no gold equipment. The equipment levels were all between level 50 and 55. He could sell the blue equipment in the equipment shop. His equipment shop wasn't purely high-end, so he still had to leave some blue equipment for the normal players. As for the white equipment, equipment of that level could be bought in the smithy. Putting it in his own equipment shop would not only take up space, it would also lower the shop's standard. Boss, I don't recommend selling these equipment in the shop. Chicano, who was a mythical level shop manager and had sharp insight and understanding of the market, had the same thoughts as Yi Zichen. I think so too. Yi Zichen nodded. Leave these equipment to me. Winnie revealed a smile and ran to the storehouse. Then, she dragged out a large bag filled to the brim with equipment and left the shop with great difficulty. The second world had always done this sort of detail very well. Yi Zichen was rather curious as he watched Winnie leave. Just what is she going to do with these equipment? Boss, don't worry. Winnie is my right-hand man. She will definitely be able to get the most out of these equipment, Chicano said seriously. I believe you. Thank you for your trust. Chicano's gaze was calm. Chicano's gaze was mellow. Before the shop officially opens for business, I have something to discuss with you. Speak. Every single NPC in the second world had their own independent personality. It would be a huge mistake to treat them as in-game data. Everything here could be treated as real. As a mythical level NPC, although Yi Zichen couldn't say that he would accept all of Chicano's suggestions, he would still listen. According to this subordinate's estimations, the shop's business will be booming in the near future. It's still too small for a level 2 shop. Expand. Yes. Chicano nodded. I suggest expanding it. Upgrading a level 2 shop to a level 3 shop required 500,000 galaxy dollars. Yi Zichen had already taken on a lot of debt in order to buy the shop. He had just taken 150,000 from Meng Luo, and upgrading the store to a second-tier store was already his limit. During that time, Chicano paid close attention to the changes in Yi Zichen's expression. If it's impossible to upgrade, I suggest you hire a few more employees. Chicano smiled warmly. If it's just me and Winnie, we might be a little too busy. It would be great if I could have a few helpers. Sure, how much do you need? 3 people. With that, Yi Zichen clicked open the shop. In the employee section of the page, there was an option to recruit employees. There were currently 5 employees waiting to be recruited. Normal? Yi Zichen frowned when he saw the employee's level. His level was too low. He spent 1,000 galaxy dollars to refresh the list. Opening a shop was not something that ordinary people could do. Not to mention other things. Just refreshing the employee list would cost 10 million galaxy dollars. Based on the current progression of the game, even the rich couldn't play it. List updated. Average, good, good. Average, excellent. Continue. Good, good, excellent, average, average. The employee's level was always below average. Yi Zichen refreshed the list 10 odd times, but he didn't see anyone above excellent. This showed how much Chicano and Winnie treasured the store even more. If he wanted to get to their level, wouldn't he have to go bankrupt? Yi Zichen clenched his teeth and refreshed the list again. Perfect. Yi Zichen finally saw a perfect level employee in the list. Perfect level employee, Xia Julin, LV 450. Loyalty, 97. Commission, 6,000 galaxy dollars per day. Recruitment cost, 50,000 galaxy dollars. Yi Zichen. I have to pay a recruitment fee to work here? Salary paid daily. Do you have to be so arrogant? Yi Zichen checked on Chicano and Winnie. Both of them received no commission from the system. Thank you, Second World's game developers. You saved me a lot of money this time. Yi Zichen made up his mind and recruited 2 more excellent level employees. Salary paid daily, 2,000 galaxy dollars per day. In other words, Yi Zichen needed 10,000 galaxy dollars to pay his employees every day. If the store couldn't earn this money, then he would be losing money. Fortunately, 10,000 galaxy dollars wasn't much for Yi Zichen. Ding! Your equipment, tattered soldier's armor. has been sold. You received 10,000 galaxy dollars. Ding. Your equipment, tattered soldier's leg guards, has been sold. You received 10,000 galaxy dollars. A sales log appeared in the store. All of the equipment were of white quality. When Yizichin clicked it open, he could see the attributes of the equipment. Winnie had already started selling. But why is it so high? Yizichin was a bit shocked by the price of the white equipment. Could it be because of the level? Meng Luo, how many galaxy dollars did you sell a piece of white equipment to the smithy? Around 3,000, Meng Luo blinked. The smithy's price for high-level white equipment also increased. Compared to Winnie's price, isn't the difference too huge? Just how did she do it? More than 600 messages popped up. In other words, Winnie earned 6 million galaxy dollars just from showing off the white equipment. That was enough to pay the employees for 600 days. About 10-odd minutes later, Winnie returned from outside the store. Boss, where did you go to sell the equipment? The smithy, Winnie shrugged. I looked around, and only the smithy was willing to buy our equipment. How did you sell it? Yizichin was shocked. I just sold it like that. I haggled with them, then packed it up and sold it to them for 10,000 apiece. Winnie saw that Yizichin's expression was off. Did this subordinate lose out? That shouldn't be the case. No. We didn't lose out. Yizichin suddenly realized that he had definitely picked up a treasure. Winnie's haggling abilities were far beyond his imagination. If he could use that to his advantage, Chicano, this subordinate is here. Can we set aside some space in the store to purchase equipment? This subordinate has always been thinking about that. Chicano nodded. I suggested you upgrade the store just now because I wanted to start purchasing equipment. But with the current state of the store, we can set aside some space to purchase equipment. All right, do it. Chapter 2141. Execute. Chicano's expression was rather strange. He looked at Yizichin for a long time without saying anything. What? Purchasing equipment requires funds. He deposited the remaining 40,000 galaxy credits in his backpack into the shop. Yizichin couldn't help but facepalm when he saw the empty wallet. He didn't think that there would be a time when he lacked game coins. Who would have thought game shops required game coins to be purchased, and so did employee salaries. Game coins were needed for expansion, and so were the shop's maintenance costs. At Yizichin's level 2 shop, the daily maintenance fee is 20,000. When he bought it, there was still half a month's maintenance fee in the shop. He opened the game coin consignment mall. The ratio of game coins increased explosively. A ratio of 3,000 times was already considered high, and the ratio of game coins was mostly around 1,000 to 1,800. As the game went on, the exchange rate between game currency and real currency would become even lower. At this time, it was actually a ratio of 6,000 times. Yizichin was completely shocked. What was going on that caused the ratio of game coins to rise? It was impossible for him to buy game coins. If it was a bit lower, then Yizichin might grit his teeth and experience what it felt like to be a nouveau riche and spend some money. He wouldn't buy it even if he was beaten to death. At that moment, Yizichin was thinking about whether he should collect in-game coins while bringing experience. There was no need to collect a lot. A few tens of millions of galaxy dollars would be enough. Yeah, they're still selling equipment. All of a sudden, Yizichin understood. There would naturally be money in the shop after he sold the equipment. Just now, he had something urgent to do. Yizichin was a bit confused. Experience cars still cost real universe dollars, and his elemental sprite babies were still crying piteously for him to give them milk powder. In that elemental land, when he had the time in the future, he would definitely go there again to find out what was hidden inside. He was actually insta-killed. I'm coming. Right then, Hua Jinro walked into the shop with the flame rat, and Bai Sei following behind her. Bai Sei's head was lowered, and her expression could not be seen through the veil. White. Yizichin walked up to them. Thank you for the map. If it weren't for Bai Sei leading the way, Yizichin might not have been able to discover the special map. He was a little careless to begin with. He didn't like to wander around when he had nothing to do. When he did things, he preferred to go straight to the point. You're welcome, Bai Sei said as he lowered his head. Congratulations, you actually got a shop. Hua Jinro smiled and looked around the shop. Tell me, are you an agent of the game company? Why do you get all the good things? Who knows? Yi Zichen shrugged. Take the equipment. Hua Jinro sent out a trade request. Hurry up and take these trash away. I'm so worried about leaving them with me that I don't dare to leave the novice village. My mailbox is also full, and no one can send me emails. What rubbish! What I have are treasures. Get it to me. Trade request accepted. Line after line of equipment was placed into the trade window. What was going on? Level 45 equipment? Level 40 equipment. Yi Zichen nearly thought that he was hallucinating. The monsters he was fighting were all level 60 and above. How could a level 40 or level 45 equipment drop? When Yi Zichen looked toward Hua Jinro, he noticed that she was avoiding his gaze, as if she did something wrong and didn't dare to look him in the eye. Yi Zichen didn't say anything. He silently traded all the equipment and stored them in the shop's warehouse. The employees in the shop went to the warehouse to check on the items. At the same time, the flame rat also started trading. This time, it was even more ridiculous. Even level 30 equipment dropped. There were quite a few of them, including the equipment that Hua Jinro had mixed in. There were at least 500 of them. Didn't they trade these low-leveled equipment together? Every time, they would mix in a pile of level 50 equipment, filling their own pockets? Shoddy goods? That shouldn't be the case. From Yi Zichen's impression, Hua Jinro and company wouldn't do something like that. If they really needed equipment, they could definitely buy it with their financial situation. Even if they really ran out of money with their relationship, Yi Zichen could give them a loan. It was impossible for him to give it away. No one had a good life, but he wasn't rich to that extent. Yi Zichen frowned deeply, then hurriedly ran to the side after the trade. The white trade request arrived. No, do you guys think that I'm retarded? Or do you think that there's something wrong with my eyesight? Yi Zichen couldn't help but smile wryly towards Hua Jinro and company. I can endure the level 40 equipment. Never mind the level 30 equipment. Yi Zichen was amused by them. None of the white equipment were level 30 or level 20. F*CK, a pile of novice equipment. Yi Zichen didn't know if there was a problem with white's placement. The wooden novice sword was displayed at the very top. Yi Zichen could feel White's face turn bright red through the veil. Hua Jinro, flame rat white. The three of them gave Yi Zichen a total of 6,000 pieces of equipment. In other words, his backpack and mailbox were filled with 1,000 pieces of equipment. What Yi Zichen gave them, he didn't have that much. Yi Zichen looked towards them. Hua Jinro stirred her hands as she stood at the door and looked up at the sky. The flame rat was in a similar state, while White continued to droop his head. Explain? Explain what? Hua Jinro raised her eyebrows. Didn't you send all of this to us? We're just returning all of this to you. But you really have a lot of equipment. I'm impressed. Ha. Yi Zichen laughed. Yi Zichen laughed, while Winnie dragged a large pile of white equipment out of the shop. The equipment I gave you are all above level 50. I'm really confused. Just how did all these level 50 and below equipment come about? Not all of the equipment they gave were white. Most of it was blue, while a portion of it was gold. Yi Zichen didn't know where they got it from, but they managed to gather around 1,000 for him. You guys can't be stuffing your own pockets, right? Using shoddy goods as good ones? We didn't. Suddenly, Meng Luo shouted. We didn't touch a single piece of your equipment. Big Sis Hua and Lil, White Jiejie, bought them from the auction house. Meng Luo. Hua Jinro's expression drastically changed. Oh wow, I bought them from the auction house. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Meng Luo also felt like she said something wrong, so she covered her mouth and acted dumb. What auction house? I don't know. I didn't say anything. All right, stop pretending. Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. How could I not know what you guys are thinking? I'm confused. Do you guys want to see me that much? You intentionally filled up your mailbox and backpack in order to meet me in real life? You even put 1,000 slots of equipment in your backpack. Are you afraid that I can't tell that it's full? Everyone remained silent. You guys increased the in-game currency, right? It's already 6,000 now. Don't be silent, let me ask. Which one of you wants to see me that much? What? You fell in love with me? That won't do. I already have a family, and my wife is very pretty. Just give up. Chapter 2142. Baisei lowered his head in shame and remained silent. I told you, this method is not feasible at all. After Meng Luo self-destructed, the flame rat also started to self-destruct. Let's not talk about how the Almighty can remember the equipment. The equipment we bought is too low in level. Even an idiot can tell. What can I do? Hua Jinro was so angry that she glared at the flame rat, who didn't dare to raise its head. There's no level 50 equipment on the market right now. Almost all of them are in the hands of the future. Also, don't bullshit here. What's the point of saying things after the fact every day? I'm the one who spent all the money and bought all the in-game coins. I spent some too. Meng Luo blinked. Yes, Sister Meng Luo is the best. Unlike some people who only know how to give advice after the fact and become miserly when it comes to money. Hua Jinro looked at the flame rat from time to time. I'm out of money. All my money has been used to forge spaceships. Oh. Hua Jinro twitched her mouth, then ignored the flame rat and looked towards Yi Zichen. Since you've discovered it, then so be it. You must have spent a lot of money to buy this equipment. That was 1,000 pieces of equipment, and even if they were of different levels and qualities, they would still cost a lot of game coins. It's all right. Hua Jinro didn't mind too much. Leave your equipment with me. I'll give you the money after I help you sell it. Yi Zichen sighed, then put on an exasperated expression. Tell me, was it really necessary? You want to treat me to a meal that much? You want to see me that much? As he spoke, Yi Zichen caressed his hair. Am I that charming that you're so infatuated with me in just half a month? Yeah, I'm so infatuated with you, Hua Jinro said. That can't be helped. I won't be leaving my planet anytime soon. Yi Zichen shrugged. Actually, you guys really don't need to be like this. I'm a slow person. I'll naturally go and find you guys when it's done. Are you sure? Hua Jinro raised her eyebrows. Of course. Even with Yi Zichen's current domain level strength, he didn't have the right to roam around so many planets. When his strength increased a little, he had to at least reach the universe level. When that time came, he could try to go to other planets to take a look. Since he had come to the universe, he had to see the mysteries of the universe. All right, then we'll wait for the future god to visit. Hua Jinro smiled. Yi Zichen nodded. No problem, but give up on your love for me during this period of time. Don't fall deeper and deeper. Hua Jinro was speechless. Got it. In Hua Jinro's eyes, this future was not only a miser, but also a narcissist. Where did he get the confidence to actually fancy him? He could not continue to dwell on this topic. If he did, who knew what else Zichen would say? You asked for game coins in the group chat to buy this shop? That's right. Yi Zichen nodded, then frowned. Damn, it seemed like he had fallen into the shop owner's trap. Up until now, he had not seen the person who wanted to buy the fragment of clear spirit water. Perhaps the shop owner already had plans to sell the shop, using the fragment of clear spirit water as bait. Profiteer, Yi Zichen muttered to himself. Boss, the equipment is already on the shelves. I've taken into account the market data to maximize the profits, Chicano said as he walked up to Lin Sanju. All right, then let's officially open. With that, Yi Zichen directly sent out a bunch of megaphones in the game. An equipment shop, coordinates 9949. 7658, officially open. Friends who need equipment can come and take a look. This shop also accepts equipment recycling business. We will recycle any equipment we don't need, even if it's white equipment. The price is discounted. Welcome. The same message was sent 10 odd times. When Yi Zichen sent out the megaphones, the other people in the novice village did not send out their megaphones in order to squeeze his content. This was them giving face to Yi Zichen. The 10 odd megaphones stayed on for around 5 minutes. At this stage of the game, staying on for 5 minutes was already a very long time. A large number of players flooded in. Yi Zichen, Hua Jinro, and company had already left the equipment shop. What are your plans? Nothing, Hua Jinro shrugged. We're going to log off. Contact us through the virtual network if there's anything. Several figures left the game. Yi Zichen shrugged. He clicked on the game list. 100 Phoenix. Coordinates. I'll come and find you. Lil White, you heard it just now, right? In the future, he said that he'll come and find you here in the future. Hua Jinro sat in the living room and held Bai Yu's hand. Don't be impulsive, okay? I understand, Bai Sai nodded. At the same time, the red wavy beauty and Hua Jinro's fiancé, Snoke, walked out from the pure white room. You guys are amazing. Ever since this game came out, you guys have been immersed in the game every day. Yu Rong sighed as she slowly walked over. There's no helping it. I have to keep an eye on little princess Bai Yu, Hua Jinro shrugged. I'm afraid that she'll be impulsive, so I have to follow her like a shadow. That's neglecting Snoke, Yu Rong smiled. He won't blame me for it, right? Hua Jinro squinted her eyes as she looked at Snoke. Meng Luo, who was on the side, suddenly twitched her nose and frowned. What a weird smell. Ha, you noticed, Yu Rong smiled. Yu Rong smiled. She took out a bottle of perfume from her bosom and sprayed it around herself. I bought this not long ago. How does it smell? It smells so good. Where did you buy it from? It smells so good. Meng Luo squinted her eyes. But this isn't the smell I smelled just now. Meng Luo wrinkled her nose again and sniffed around the room. However, the whole living room was covered in the fragrance of Yu Rong's perfume. She could not smell the previous smell at all. Meng Luo seemed to be unconvinced and sniffed even more seriously. Dong! Snoke knocked Meng Luo's head. What are you doing? Meng Luo frowned. All right, Meng Luo. Snoke shook his head helplessly. Tian, you're focusing on weird things. How can there be a weird smell here? Why didn't we smell it? Oh yeah, Lil Ro, Lil White, the almighty you were talking about was in the future, right? I just smelled it, Meng Luo muttered. Yeah. Hua Jinro nodded. Can you help me ask how he triggered the purchase of a shop? Snoke pursed his lips. I'm very interested in opening a shop, and I want to try opening one in the game. Chapter 2143. Run? Do you think you can run? Those inside, listen up. I've surrounded you. Leave Overlord Alliance now, or come out and die. Don't think you can run. I have plenty of time to waste with you. A blood-red character name floated above White Phoenix's head. She crouched on the ground and played with her dagger, drawing circles on the ground in front of her. The newbie village's safe zone was right in front of her. Hundreds of Overlord Alliance players were trapped inside, but White Phoenix was the only one outside. Are we going to kill her or not? The Overlord Alliance players whispered to each other. It had been 10 hours since White Phoenix chased after Overlord Alliance. Countless Overlord Alliance members had been killed by White Phoenix, and their levels had plummeted. With Might gone, Overlord Alliance didn't know what to do. In these 10 hours, more than 1,000 Overlord Alliance members had left the village. Even now, the number was still climbing. After giving in and tolerating White Phoenix countless times, the managers of Overlord Alliance decided to organize a counterattack. All level 40 and above players gathered together. After dispatching several hundred players to search for White Phoenix's coordinates. However, they had never imagined that, before they could locate White Phoenix would find them. There were a total of 300 Overlord Alliance elites. White Phoenix's sudden attack had completely annihilated all of them. The Overlord Alliance members here were the survivors of the ambush. Hurry up. I'll remember all of your names. If you don't retreat now, don't blame me for killing you after you retreat. White Phoenix narrowed her eyes. She showed no fear in the face of the hundreds of Overlord Alliance members. In her eyes, these people were lambs waiting to be slaughtered. She's too arrogant. Some of the Overlord Alliance loyalists roared. She's so arrogant by herself. Does she really think Overlord Alliance can't deal with her? She has the right to be arrogant. Someone else in the crowd spoke up. Didn't the hundreds of us run back to the safe zone too? That was her ambush. Can an ambush kill hundreds of people instantly? She caught us off guard. It's fine if a few of us died, but we lost more than 100 people just now. If you don't like it, go kill her. The members were divided in their views on the matter. White Phoenix still had a satisfied expression on her face as she crouched outside the safe zone. I'll give you to the count of 3 to consider. I can't take it anymore, one of the members shouted. Ding. Meepa can leave Overlord Alliance. Ding. Hylon has left Overlord Alliance. Ding. Horseshoe Jima has left Overlord Alliance. Dozens of players left the guild. We're retreating. The crowd of players shouted. White Phoenix nodded in satisfaction. You're free. I won't hunt you down. But if you dare to go back, we will definitely not go back. Go. Bifong waved her hand, signaling them to leave. The members of Overlord Alliance heaved a long sigh of relief, as if they had just survived a disaster, and hurried out. At the same time, Bifong narrowed her eyes. You won't retreat. I'll remember you. Even if you retreat now, I'll still kill you. F***CK. She's too arrogant. Kill her. Kill her. The Overlord Alliance members in the safe zone shouted. The manager among them narrowed his eyes as he looked at Bifong. Boss, give the order. So what if she's strong? She's just one person. Hundreds of us charge out. She can't kill us all. As long as 10 of us hit her, she'll die. Someone shouted. The manager's expression darkened. Kill. Squatting outside the safe zone, White Phoenix raised an eyebrow as she stared at the Overlord Alliance members charging at her. Whoosh, a cluster of flames shot towards her from afar, then transformed into a wall of fire. Anyone who touched it was instantly killed. My name's Red again. Yi Zichen scratched his head. He felt somewhat helpless as he looked at the rising evils. His trip to the elemental lands had come to an end. His fire elemental attacks had increased by a lot, and his fire elemental set boosted his attacks. As for the players, they had low levels, poor equipment, and no elemental resistance. As soon as the flames touched them, they were instantly killed. It's the future. The future is here too. Hurry and retreat. The remaining Overlord Alliance members ran back into the safe zone, leaving behind a ground littered with equipment. When Yi Zichen killed white names before, the drop rate was rather low. He didn't expect so many to drop this time. It seems like it's because of his high luck. Why did you let them get away? Bifong frowned as she watched the 10-odd members run back into the safe zone. If it were her, she would definitely kill them all. Their legs are on them. I can't control them. Yi Zichen shrugged, then walked up to the wall of fire and picked up the equipment. Wow, level 30 gold grade equipment. Not bad, not bad. Level 40 gold grade equipment. Rich people. Level 35 dark gold equipment. Not bad from the Overlord Alliance. Yi Zichen picked up the equipment and put it all up for sale in the equipment store. How many people did you kill? Why are you so red? Yi Zichen frowned as he looked at Bifang's character name. Not many. I've done around 7,000 evil deeds. I'm going to collect 10,000 and get the title of Butcher, Bifong smiled. How ambitious. Yi Zichen grinned and licked his lips. I don't even know if I should give you the shard. Say, what if you get killed and it drops? Then I'll leave it with you, Bifong said nonchalantly. Never mind. I'll just give it to you. With that, Yi Zichen sent a trade request. I'll leave the shard with you. Work hard to survive for the sake of the shard. Holy Spirit Fruit Shard, Pure Spirit Water Shard. Place it. You. Bifang's eyes widened as she looked at the additional shard. Ha, I just bought it. You can get your subordinates to check out the various stores in the novice villages. I bought this fragment from there. Yi Zichen confirmed the transaction with a smile. The 2 shards entered Bifang's bag. These 2 shards. Aight. Bifong considered how much money to give. Yi Zichen shrugged. I don't want money. What kind of relationship do we have? Why would I want money? Do you know the value of these shards? I don't, but I know I'm useless. If I'm useless, then I have no value. Yi Zichen shrugged. Just keep it. Don't drop it after you die. Bifong looked at Yi Zichen with a complicated expression. I owe you a favor. From now on, as long as you need me, I'll do whatever I can for you, no matter if it's good or bad. That can't be, right? Yi Zichen looked at Bifang's solemn expression. How about this? I'll use it now. You, do you know any slave merchants? I want to buy 2 cosmic level slaves. Can you give me a discount? Chapter 2144. He could buy universe level slaves. That was Yi Zichen's goal for the time being. The universe secret realm was destroyed by Shea, but it wasn't completely destroyed. Only the pathway to the Milky Way galaxy was destroyed. The arcane realm would repair itself. It will reappear in a few decades. If the Milky Way had a universe-level warrior guarding the secret area entrance, people from other galaxies and universes didn't dare to act rashly when facing a universe-level warrior. If they really wanted to act violently, The universe-level slave could directly kill them. It was just that buying universe-level slaves was a huge project. Yizichin couldn't gather 100 million cosmic dollars in a short period of time, but that didn't mean he couldn't earn it. Universe-level slave? Bifeng frowned slightly. When he saw her expression, Yizichin thought he'd put her in a difficult spot. Cosmic system state is fine too. Why did you buy slaves? Bifeng looked puzzled, but then she shrugged and said, I don't know any slave traders. I don't like to deal with people like that. Yizichin nodded. Forget it then. It didn't matter to Yizichin whether or not he could buy cheap slaves from Bifeng. He was just asking to test the waters. When he had enough money, he could go to bar and buy it. If he did not want to owe anyone a favor, now in the game, he also knew Steelcase. Buying slaves from him or asking her to contact the slave traders was also very simple. There were many ways for him to buy slaves. As long as the money was there, nothing was a problem. Do you really need universe-level slaves? It's just a few cosmic-level ones. I'll just give you a few. How many do you want? Asked Bifeng suddenly. Yizichin hadn't said that just to get her to give him a few. Yizichin shook his head with a smile, then stopped discussing the matter of slaves. Are you still going to hunt down Overlord Alliance? Kill them. White Phoenix nodded. If I don't kill them until they disband, consider it my loss. Ding! He received a private message. It was from Stilkek. Guru, can we do a dungeon today? I don't mean anything else. If they can't fight today, I'll arrange for them to do something else. How did time pass so quickly? Yizichin couldn't help but be surprised. Time up? No, Steelcase replied. I'm just asking in advance so that I can make arrangements in advance. You should also know that the internal affairs of a familial force like ours are more troublesome and complicated. Fight! Yizichin sent a message. Let's start now. Take it as a thank you for lending me the game currency. Contact me when your people are ready. Always ready. Steel Kiki replied. Yizichin shook his head with a smile when he saw that. These guys are truly passionate about leveling up. Little did they know, Yizichin wasn't sure, but the Steel family was vastly different from other factions. It was just as Stilkek had said. Their internal affairs were very complicated. Moreover, the Steel family attached great importance to this game. If Steel Kiki could become the first member of the family to leave the novice village and enter the universe, in that case, his status in the family would also rise. For the sake of status and distribution of resources, the struggle between family members was very fierce. At this time, the existence of this game could make many people stand out. It could make those invisible people who didn't have any status or sense of existence in the family try to fight for a higher position in the family. Everyone would try their best to become the first person to leave the novice village. Because of that, Steel Kiki was extremely passionate about leveling up. The elites under him were the same. Their goal was to leave the novice village and enter the universe. Before that, he could even give up all the resources in the novice village. Don't kill the people from the Overlord Alliance. Killing them is too much of a waste of time. We'll deal with them when we have time in the future, Yizichin said. What? White Phoenix didn't understand. The Steel family came to find me for a dungeon. I asked them for your position. We have to go and level up. I don't want to go. You have to go even if you don't want to. Yizichin grabbed White Phoenix's arm and sent a party invite to Steel Kiki and company. Not long later, all three members of the Steel family arrived. Steel Kiki, LV-43, Steel Base, LV-43, Steel Mocha, LV-43, 3 level 43 members. At the current stage of the game, they were already elites among elites. I'm currently level 54, and the dungeon I opened is level 56. You guys know that, right? Yeah, Steel Kiki nodded. How many floors do you need? Can I go in and take a look? Steel Kiki smiled. The leaders of factions were all people who were good at scheming. However, from the looks of Steel Kiki and his family, they shouldn't be people who lacked money. What he cared about was the efficiency of leveling, sure. Yizichin nodded with a smile. With that, Steel Kiki entered the dungeon. One good thing about the Path of the Hero was that it allowed players to enter any place at any time. There was no need to waste words. The guard monster appeared. White Phoenix activated her boredom mode, squatted on the ground, and drew circles or played some of the puzzle games that came with the game. She was already used to it. However, this was the first time the Steele family had taken an experience vehicle. F***CK. So fast. Insta-killed? The boss was insta-killed. What kind of fire is this? How could it insta-kill the guard monster? Is this a level 56 guard? Is this a level 61 boss? In a short 5 minutes, the first floor's guards and the boss were all killed. Yi Zichen had taken care of them all. Even Yi Zichen didn't expect it to be so fast. With the addition of the fire element attack, the Steele family members looked like they were insta-killed, but in reality, the guard monster only fell to the ground after being burned 3 times. The 3 burns lasted for less than 10 seconds. Furthermore, the firewall was an AoE attack. The guards' corpses fell to the ground after the firewall. Great God! Steel Kiki was completely shocked. Did you bring them like this before? No, you guys are the first car. I had a fortuitous encounter not too long ago, and my strength increased. Yi Zichen picked up the equipment and materials on the ground. This was something that was agreed upon beforehand. They, who took the experience vehicle, would eat experience, and everything else would belong to Yi Zichen. Do you have any other questions? If not, then I'll continue. Yi Zichen was very patient toward his boss. No matter what, he was a sugar daddy, so he had to serve him well. Go ahead. Still Keck gulped. He doubted that with such efficiency. If Yi Zichen could continue to bring them, then they would be able to leave the novice village in about a year's time. This efficiency, he didn't even dare to think about it. Chapter 2145. Ding! Server-wide announcement. The players in the second world subconsciously stopped what they were doing. A full server announcement. The range of the announcement was 3,080 universes. Unless it was a very important event, it would not be announced in a full server announcement. Congratulations to the Milky Way Novice Village players Future, White Phoenix, Steel Keck, Steel Mocha, and Steel Base for successfully clearing the path of the brave beginner in 3 hours, 47 minutes, and 29 seconds. Since this is the first time you have cleared the game, you will be rewarded with 20 luck, level +1, and a piece of purple tier equipment. Congratulations! The server announcement was repeated 10 times. In an instant, the game was in an uproar. The Path of the Brave was a way for countless players in the novice village to level up. Anyone who had fought it before knew how difficult it was. No matter how good their equipment was, it was still very difficult to clear the 5th floor. Even if they cleared the 5th floor, they would not be able to clear the 6th floor. 5 floors meant that the monster's level had increased by 5 levels. The attributes of the guards on the 6th floor would increase by leaps and bounds. Countless players were stuck here and had no way to pass. Someone had actually passed the Milky Way Novice Village. How could they not be shocked? Future? Him again? People in the other novice villages also noticed Yi Zichen. Not long ago, he had received a store-wide announcement, which had attracted the attention of many players. It had only been a few hours. He passed the Path of the Brave. Who is this person? In a certain novice village, a level 52 player muttered as he read the announcement. There's also a member of the Steele family. Could it be the Steele family? What's going on? Why is Keck on a full service announcement? During the announcement, a little fatty who was fighting monsters was also stunned for a moment. He scratched his head, scrolled through his friend list, and clicked on Steelkirk's chat box. Yeezy Gidge is amazing. When the system announcement was made, a girl who was fighting monsters in a certain novice village smiled happily. Ding! Congratulations on completing the Path of the Brave challenge. You have gained 50% of your current level's experience. Congratulations on obtaining the Heart of the Brave. The Heart of the Brave. Damn, I finally got it. During this period of time, Yi Zichen had completed the Path of the Hero several hundred times. This was the first time he had obtained the Heart of the Brave. Heart of the Brave, the symbol of the brave. It's a full server announcement again. Yi Zichen put the Heart of the Hero back into his backpack, then looked at the in-game notification with a headache. People are afraid of fame as pigs are afraid of being fat. He was just a puny domain level. Who could stand being announced all over the server like this? What if someone came to investigate him? Damn, They didn't even ask for the person in question before issuing the notice. He sighed silently. Should I continue? Great God, please wait a moment. Stilkek's eyes were filled with excitement. He had profited greatly. He hadn't expected to receive a server-wide announcement when he cleared the stage. His private messages were exploding. Family members, real-life friends, they were all sending him messages to ask or congratulate him. Not only that, but the higher-ups of the family had also sent him a message. The entire server announcement was directed towards the 3080 universe. This sort of announcement was basically an advertisement for the Steele family to the entire universe. More importantly, this advertisement will remain forever. As long as you played this game, you would always see the existence of the Steele family in the game log. It was not an exaggeration to say that. Less than 3 minutes had passed since the members of the Steele family had appeared in the full server announcement. The Steele family stock price had risen by 15 points. These 15 points brought the Steele family trillions, tens of trillions in inestimable profits. Seeing Stilkek's expression, Yi Zichen could roughly guess what was going on. Yi Zichen could roughly guess, but he didn't want to take advantage of the situation to ask for some benefits. They gave money and worked on their own. This was what he was supposed to do. Rouge Gofen, wow, I'm crying. Why wasn't I the one on TV? I'm unhappy. Tian Hai, so sad. Blue Shield family 0713. The Steele family got lucky. Returning Windblade. F***CK. A full server announcement. F***CK. The leaders in the game all started to speak. The sourness in their words could be heard even from thousands of miles away. Stilkek. Haha, you guys should congratulate me. Rouge Gofen Tui. Jingling Tui. Gulu Tui. Tianhai Tui. Returning Windblade Tui. Their formation was in perfect harmony. They had racked their brains for the newbie village level ranking and a single newbie village announcement. It was easy to imagine how important a full server announcement was to them. Stilkek's face was full of smiles. He was in a great mood after being on a full server announcement. Stilkek. Ha. Rouge Gofen. Great God, I want to break his record. I also want to be on TV. Jingling. Ugh, Rouge Gofen. Ding. Yi Zichen received a private message. Tianhai. Bro Future, you're not good enough. Didn't you say that level 8 was your limit when you fought us? Fine. Yi Zichen knew that someone would come to question him. It was indeed level 8 before. Didn't my equipment get updated these few days? What a pity, Tianhai replied. This sort of full server announcement is very important for us, especially the first one. The Steele family is truly lucky. How about this? When you fight us, break their record. Break the record? I think breaking the record can be done on a full server announcement, Tianhai replied. Because the announcement just now stated the clear time, which means that the record can be broken. We'll talk about it when the time comes. This time, Yi Zichen cleared the level very quickly and didn't waste any time. He wanted to break the record, unless he kept triggering the secret technique when he fought the boss. Otherwise, breaking the record would truly be hard. After exiting the chat with Tianhai, Yi Zichen noticed that his private messages exploded again. All of them were from strangers, over 10,000 messages per second. He couldn't even read them all. He ignored all of them, withdrew the private message commission, then increased the amount. $5 Galaxy dollars. 50,000 Galaxy dollars per private message. He was delighted. Yi Zichen couldn't help but smile when he saw the continuous increase in the private message commission. It's pretty good to be on TV. At the very least, I can earn a lot of game coins. How is it? It's about enough, right? Should we continue? I have to remind you, the time is fixed, Yi Zichen reminded. Stilkek nodded heavily. Yes. The private messages could be replied after entering the instance dungeon. Since he was taking a car, he didn't have to fight monsters. At that moment, Bro Future, I'll buy the instance dungeon record. Tianhai suddenly sent a message. 50 million universe dollars, how about it? Huh? Yi Zichen was shocked when he saw Tianhai's message. How much did you say? 50 million universe dollars. I want to buy the Path of the Heroes instance dungeon record. Chapter 2146. Tianhai's message was like thunder from the 9 heavens. Yi Zichen stared intently at the message. 50 million? Whether it was Tianhai or the other leaders, their interactions were all in cosmic dollars. If it was any other organization, they would mention it. Directly tossing out 50 million for the dungeon record? Ahem, sorry, I seem to have been too impulsive just now. Can I take back that message? F***CK. Aren't you embarrassed? What a big shot. Words that had been said could be taken back like water that had been spilled. Yi Zichen admired Tianhai's actions from the bottom of his heart. Really, if it was anyone else, even if they calmed down and realized that they were too impulsive just now, for the sake of face, they would hold on no matter what. It's fine. Yi Zichen smiled and replied. Tianhai wasn't the only one who felt impulsive. When Yi Zichen saw the number 50 million, he felt like Tianhai had gone crazy. It was just a dungeon record. Was there a need to go that far? Actually, I really want to give you 50 million. I think it's worth it. Tianhai sent another message. But there's no helping it. Sometimes I have no choice. What? My proposal was rejected. Tianhai smiled wryly. He looked at the messages on the virtual network and replied. In the future, you probably haven't joined any factions that involve a lot of people, right? No, Yi Zichen replied. I can tell. Tianhai smiled. No matter what decision you make, you're very casual. It's obvious that you're a free person or someone with real power. But even if you do, you can't be as happy as you are. Haha, is that so? Said Yi Zichen. I envy you. Yi Zichen could sense Tianhai's helplessness from his message. It's so nice to be a free person. Even though Tianhai kept sighing, Yi Zichen was able to guess a few things from his messages. In the real world, Tianhai probably had power. However, he was not a person who could act arbitrarily. He'd specifically mentioned that there were a lot of people involved. Perhaps Tianhai's faction had a lot of people involved. Making any decision required consideration from many aspects. Discuss. Sign. Then execute. You have to maintain your freedom, Tianhai sighed. Tianhai sighed with emotion. Even if we really have to merge with another faction, we must become the one with the final say. All right, I'll remember that. From the looks of it, Tianhai was truly helpless. Otherwise, given his personality, he wouldn't have said so much, not to mention it wasn't important at all. Perhaps he was thinking of the days when he was free. Perhaps he felt that there was nothing wrong with his proposal, but it was rejected. He felt a little distressed, but there was nothing he could do about it. When he decided to merge with the other families and forces, this was his fate. In the future, I still want to buy dungeon record from you. Didn't I fail? Yi Zichen replied. The application for 50 million was rejected, but the application for 5 million was accepted. How about it? Are you interested? Yes. Yi Zichen had always been very interested in earning money. But you aren't the only one that wants to buy the records. Yi Zichen smiled as he looked at the messages that he hadn't read yet. Did other socialites contact you? The Ling Group, B Valley, and Blue Shield family have all contacted me. Yi Zichen didn't hide anything and told her about the people who sent him private messages. Oh, the Tianhai wasn't surprised at all. To be honest, Yi Zichen was rather curious. If the dungeon record was important, then Meng Luo, Rouge, and the others should have contacted him. Yet, they didn't contact him, but the Blue Shield family did. How much did they offer? Tianhai asked. The Ling Group also offered 500, the same as you. The Blue Shield family offered 550, while B Valley offered 800, Yi Zichen replied. It's about the same as I expected. Tianhai's reply was still very confident. You can blackmail B Valley. I estimate that the limit they can offer is around 1,000 to 1,200. Why? Future little bro, don't always ask why when you talk to other people in the future. Yi Zichen could feel Tianhai's sincerity through the screen. Do you know what kind of people you are facing? Countless people are plotting against your every word and action. Let's just say it like this. From our conversation just now, I can confirm that you have no backing, and you aren't even at the universe level, right? All of a sudden, Yi Zichen, who was in the game, froze. How did Tianhai know? I clearly have a fire elemental attack in the game. Elemental control is a skill that only people at the universe level can have. Why did Tianhai say that I wasn't at the universe level? How about it? I'm right? Let me tell you some more. I'm also certain that you have practically no experience in the universe. Tianhai sent a message. Yi Zichen remained silent. Then, Tianhai sent a message. Do you know why I know? It's because you know too little about the universe. Do you know why B Valley, Ling Corporation, Blue Shield Family, and my God's Domain one instance dungeon records? Because we are all universal forces. They truly exist, and they are forces that use this name to run their families and corporations. Instance dungeon records are free advertisements for us. I guessed that, Yi Zichen replied. See, you actually guessed it. You should have replied that you already knew. That way, you can prove that what I said before was fake. Doesn't your current words prove that what I said is true? Tianhai replied. Future little bro, you're too immature and too honest. Yi Zichen frowned as he looked at Tianhai's reply. The universe isn't as kind as you think, but it definitely isn't as bad as you think. There's no harm in being cautious. If you have time, do your homework. Do you know why I said that you can't reach the universe level? Why? Because you need to choose to join a force or establish a city in the universe. When that happens, even if you don't know everything, you will know 80 to 90% of the 3,080 universe countries. However, you seem to be very unfamiliar with B Valley and the God's Domain. Do you know, from the moment we met, when I said that I came from the God's Domain, your gaze told me that you were an immature little kid? The short few minutes of conversation, it was like a blow to Yi Zichen's head. If Tianhai hadn't pointed it out to him, he might have continued like this. When that happens, it was inevitable that more people would know his secret. Yi Zichen had thought that he was very meticulous, but he didn't expect his words to reveal such a huge loophole. Thank you. You're welcome, Tianhai replied. I just feel like you're a bit similar to me in the past. You're an honest person. If you have time, you can come to the main planet of the universe to play. I'm working here. Big Bro will give you a good lesson then. Chapter 2147. No problem. Yi Zichen replied to Tianhai with a smile. Tianhai also sent a message over. B Valley wants to open up the market recently. Instance dungeon records are a great method for them. Remember the price I gave you. Don't lose out. I'll remember, Yi Zichen replied. I won't waste your time. Contact me when I have time. Yi Zichen left the chat with a smile. The moment he did so, his expression turned solemn. Tianhai wasn't completely trustworthy. The reason why Yi Zichen felt that way was mainly because of what he said just now. Tianhai's message. His words were filled with passion and sincerity. He thought about Yi Zichen in every aspect and taught the younger generation as a big brother, a senior. His words made Yi Zichen feel grateful. When you find someone very comfortable to chat with, it only proves one thing. That person's EQ is much higher than yours. That's what Tianhai did just now. How sad. I lost another companion. Yi Zichen sighed as he looked at Tianhai's character. He was indeed a noob in the universe. However, he had only been in the universe for a short period of time, so he didn't understand much about the universe. That didn't mean that he was an idiot. How was it? What was the result? Right after Tianhai left his conversation with Yi Zichen, a middle-aged man appeared beside him. No, Tianhai shook his head. This little fellow is smarter than I thought. He fell for it at the start, but then I ended the conversation in time. I hope he didn't notice. It can't be that you didn't find anything, right? The middle-aged man frowned. A little. He does have no family backing him, and his strength isn't enough to enter the universe, Tianhai replied. Then why can't we get in touch? Because he's smart. Tianhai squinted his eyes and looked up at the vast, starry sky. Let's wait a bit more. Yi Zichen closed his friend list, then sent the number 1200 in Gu Lu's chat after rejecting the offers from the Blue Shield family and Lingshire Corporation. Yi Zichen believed that Tianhai's information was real. It was real. Sometimes, you have to mix truth with falsehood in order to make people feel that what you said was real. If it was all fake, even an idiot could tell. 1200. Gu Lu frowned when she saw Yi Zichen's reply. 12 million was the limit that B Valley could accept. If it was someone who did not understand the situation in B Valley, it would be impossible for them to make such an accurate judgment. There's an expert behind him. Gu Lu squinted her eyes. She did not believe that Yi Zichen had guessed it on his own. Who could it be? God Domain or Steel? This was an existence that could become a leader in the universe. In terms of judgment, he had a rather high accuracy rate. Yi Zichen clearly didn't say anything, yet she was able to lock her target between the god's domain and steel. What a headache. It's most likely that Uncle Amami said it. Gulu rubbed her chin, very distressed. He's really bad. Gulu curled his lips and left a message in the chat box. Sure. As expected, Tianhai was telling the truth. After a few minutes of hesitation, it could be seen that Gulu was struggling and worried in her heart. 1,200 was probably the limit they could accept. I will do my best. After sending the message, Yi Zichen looked toward Steelcase. After the announcement, this man seemed to be much busier than before. He was immersed in joy. That was because he couldn't help but smile. Let's begin. All right, Steelcase smiled. He directly chucked 10 dungeon scrolls to Yi Zichen. Future great god, open it. With that, he once again immersed himself in private messages. Yi Zichen laughed softly and started the dungeon. Only then did Yi Zichen understand why they bought back the dungeon record. The name of the person with the dungeon record would be left on the start screen. The commercial value of this was not something a noob like Yi Zichen could estimate. Since B Valley was willing to pay 12 million, Tianhai felt that even 50 million was a good deal. This meant that the profit that this dungeon record would create for them would be much more than that. 10 times, 100 times more entered the dungeon. Instantly killed the guard. Cleared. Everything was done in one go. Yi Zichen intentionally restrained the speed at which he cleared in order to give as much time as possible and not break the record. Little did he know, he was thinking too much. The dungeon record was much harder to break than he had imagined. Even if he went all out from the start, his fastest time was 12 minutes longer than the record. In the blink of an eye, the Steel family's dungeon time came to an end. Ding! Respected Universe Gold Card user, 5 million Universe credits have been transferred into your account. Please check. Yi Zichen frowned at Steel after receiving the notification. What is it? The extra is my thank you gift to the great god. Steel's eyes were filled with a smile. I won't hide it from you. After we went on the server announcement, the higher-ups of the Steel family contacted me and increased the resources I have in the family by 2 levels. Congratulations. Yi Zichen cupped his hands. All of this is thanks to you. Steel's eyes were filled with gratefulness. He was once a nobody in the family. The reason why he was able to become the leader of this novice village was mainly because he was the only member of the Steel family. It couldn't be helped. The family had to let him sit in this position. From that moment onwards, he felt that this was a chance for him to stand out in the family. He also firmly believed that he could change his fate in the family. He didn't expect it to come so quickly. It had only been half a month. He was thankful for the game's second world, thankful that the system placed him in the Milky Way Novice Village, thankful that the Milky Way Novice Village had such a great god in the future. None of the 3 were necessary for him to make a comeback in the family. Great God, if there isn't anything else, Steel Kiki prepared to log off. This was the first time he made the managers of the family wait. In the past, he could only look up to those superior managers. This time, they all had to wait for him to finish the dungeon offline. This was a feeling he had never felt before. However, he didn't dare to go overboard. Dungeon clearing was an important matter. The higher-ups could naturally understand and accept it, but he still purposely left them hanging after he finished the dungeon. If they found out, he wouldn't have a good ending. Steel Kiki knew that everything he had didn't come by easily, so he treasured what he had now. Hurry up and go. Steel Kiki waved his hand and prepared to log off. Wait a moment, what is it, great god? Steel Kiki paused for a moment. Yi Zichen was his benefactor, so he had to treat him well. You're good to the family managers, right? Yes, sure. Send a message to your managers from me. Yi Zichen smiled. Just say that Steel Baylor is a decent person. If your family can re-evaluate him, then I am willing to provide some benefits for your family. Chapter 2148. As a member of the Steel family, there was no one who didn't know about Steel Bar, although when people mentioned him, they mostly mentioned his elder brother, Steel Bar. Steel Bar was too dazzling. He was so dazzling that no one had shone brighter than him since the establishment of the Steel family. Even so, as a direct descendant of the Steel family and the son of the family head. Everyone had some impression of Steel Bar. Of course, their impression of him was in comparison to Bar. Great deity knows young Master Bar. Steel Kiki was also a direct descendant of the family, but his status was definitely much lower than Bar's. Even when he mentioned Bar, he had to respectfully call him young master. Don't ask about that. Yi Zichen smiled. Yi Zichen smiled. Just deliver my message. Don't let the others go to waste just because the family produced a genius like Steel Bad. I'll remember, Steel Kiki nodded. He might not agree with Yi Zichen's other words. However, the last part about not burying the talents of the family because of Steel Bar, that was what Steel wanted to say, but didn't dare to. Now that Yi Zichen mentioned it, he would naturally tell the higher-ups about it. Go. Steel Kiki logged off. Bai Feng tilted her head. I don't want to continue fighting. Bai Feng had never been particularly passionate about leveling up, especially when it was the same thing over and over again. She felt extremely bored. What do you want to do? A few subordinates sent me private messages just now. They want me to go fight a few bosses with them, Bai Feng replied. Then go. Yi Zichen didn't force her. But be careful. Don't forget what you have on you. Got it. With that, Bai Feng left the group in a hurry. Yi Zichen stretched lazily, then entered the Galaxy Virtual Networks chat group. There weren't many active members in the group. Rouge and Makeup appeared the most, and he would occasionally see Windblade, Meng Luo, and company. Everyone was very busy. It was normal that they didn't have time to spam the group. I feel like something's missing. Yi Zichen pursed his lips as he looked at the empty chat. It would be great if he could send red packets like before. That would make the group a bit more fun. Unfortunately, the Virtual World Corporation did not develop such a function. He didn't know if it was because the technology wasn't up to par or if they didn't have such an idea. Yi Zichen sighed softly, then sent a message. Future, Rouge and Face Powder. Almighty, I'm coming. Rouge and Face Powder. Why are you suddenly looking for me? Do you want to go on a date with me? Did this girl hate marrying off her daughter? Why were they in such a hurry? Up until now, they seem to have never met each other. Future, it's your turn to fight the dungeon. Group me in the game. After sending the message, Yi Zichen left the group chat and returned to the game. Rouge Face Powder invites you to join the team. Confirm. God. Rouge made the microphone light up. Xiao Yuan. Her voice was crisp and clear, and her words were filled with youth and vigor. We're going to find you now. When you see me, don't fall in love with me. Yi Zichen was speechless. He had always been told that Rouge and Powder were the voices of beautiful women. He was really afraid that when they met, Rouge would give him a big reversal. About 10 minutes later, Rouge, Cosmetic Powder, and the others' coordinates appeared on the map. Before long, they arrived in front of Yi Zichen. Almighty, Rouge, a level 44 character, ran over with a smile. The moment Yi Zichen saw her, he had to admit that he was stunned. How is it? Do I look good? Rouge squinted her eyes, and her words were full of confidence. It was no wonder she was so confident. She was really a beauty. In terms of appearance, she was comparable to Su Yan. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Su Yan was already beautiful enough. In the eyes of her lover, Yi Zichen, she was several levels higher. Her makeup was already on the same level as Su Yan. One could imagine. Not bad. Yi Zichen shrugged. Still a bit lacking compared to my wife. Really? Rouge and Face Powder didn't believe it. The girls who had come with her were all shocked. What do you think? Yi Zichen nodded. I don't believe it. Rouge pouted. I want to see her. In terms of appearance, Rouge and Face Powder had always been full of confidence. She never believed that anyone could be more beautiful than her. I'll have time. Yi Zichen couldn't be bothered to argue with the Rouge. Oh yeah, you can find another person. Oh, Rouge and Face Powder squinted her eyes. Great deity, you like me, right? Stop pretending. Rouge and Face Powder giggled. The other factions only have 3 spots, but we have 4. Seriously, you're not honest at all. F*** King retard. If it wasn't for the fact that Bai Feng wasn't there, would Yi Zichen have given her more spots? She was pretty. She was just a bit overconfident. Approximately half an hour later, another female member of the Empress's team arrived. Are all of you girls? That's right. Rouge and face powder nodded. They're all girls, and all of them are beauties. Great deity, are you interested? Come to us. It'll be a great blessing. Never mind. I don't have the fortune to enjoy it. Everyone had arrived, and they entered the instant's dungeon. Another round of mechanical repetition. Instant kill, pass, instant kill, pass. The only difference from a Steel family was that Rouge and Face Powder were a bit too confident. She would occasionally harass Yi Zichen verbally. This confused him. He even considered whether or not to kick Rouge and Face Powder out of the Milky Way Galaxy chat group. A month passed by in the blink of an eye. During this period of time, Yi Zichen continuously repeated the same thing. He repeated the same thing a few times. Nearly 200 times on the path of the hero. Yi Zichen obtained 117 hearts of a hero. Level far ahead. Level 79. Just as he continued to clear the instance dungeons. In the Milky Way, everyone, I'll be leaving first. A black-robed young man stood in front of the ship's cabin door. In front of him, the great sage, Yang Jian, Yin Shang, practically all of the peak existences in the Milky Way were sending him off. Around them, the slaves Yi Zichen sent were standing in the distance. Just you wait, I'll go find you guys soon, the great sage laughed. Yang Jian also nodded. Expand the land over there with Yi Zi. I'm gonna be a big boss when I go. No problem. The black-robed youth smiled and nodded. At that moment, Su Yin walked out of the crowd. Be careful. Don't worry. The young man's gaze softened a lot when he saw Su Yin. Yi Zi must be having a hard time outside. As his brother, I should go and help him. With that, the young man waved his hands. See you in the universe. See you in the universe. Chapter 2149. Wow, I can see the light of day again. Yi Zichen, who logged out of the game, arrived outside the core student manor and looked up at the sky. Yi Zichen liked Blue River very much. There were white clouds and blue skies similar to those on Earth. A whole month of gaming. He felt like he was going to collapse. Fortunately, he had earned a lot during this period of time. The milk powder of the 5 elemental spirits had all been upgraded by 1 level. Class C. Mr. Yi, you really haven't come out for a long time. Baiyin stood beside Yi Zichen with a smile. Yeah, Yi Zichen nodded. Why don't I see Baiyu? Where did she go? A few days ago, Baiyin said that there was an event at school. Is that so? Ever since Yi Zichen entered the game, he had practically neglected his studies. The school did not particularly care about this. I don't care if you go to class or not, as long as you pay the tuition fee. Why didn't she tell me? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. I asked her, and she said it wasn't a particularly important event. You also mentioned that the game was more important, so I didn't look for you in-game, Baiyin replied. Yi Zichen didn't ask any further after learning a little. Baiyu was also an adult, so it was best for her to make her own decisions. Yi Zichen wanted to raise her into an independent expert. He was not an obedient subordinate. However, Yi Zichen felt that it was quite a pity that he couldn't participate in the school's activities. After arriving on Blue River Planet, Yi Zichen hadn't really walked around much. Participating in activities could also increase one's experience. Oh right. Suddenly, Yi Zichen looked towards Baiyin. Has Bar been here these past few days? Young Master Bar. Inexplicably, Baiyin blushed and bit her lips. He came a few times, but you were in the game, so he didn't disturb you. Blushing? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Could it be that Bar had confessed? Looking at Baiyin's expression, even if Bar didn't say it openly, he would have mentioned it vaguely. This guy, he was really anxious. If one could reach the domain realm in the universe, one's lifespan could be seen as eternal. It had only been a month, and Bar had already said it. Yi Zichen sighed inwardly, then pretended to be ignorant. From the way Baiyin addressed Bar, it was obvious that the two of them had yet to confirm their relationship. If Yi Zichen acted as if he knew, then Baiyin would definitely feel even more awkward. Emotional matters should be left to the two people involved. Outsiders meddling would only make things more troublesome. Is there any news from the people from Iron Tank Star? Yi Zichen didn't know what Bar had done, so he quickly changed the topic in consideration of Baiyin's emotions. They're already here, Baiyin said seriously. They arrived 3 days ago and are already on their way back. That's good. After leaving Earth for so long, for some reason, no one in the Milky Way galaxy had sent him any messages. He wanted to ask about the situation over there, but he couldn't. He wondered how they were doing. Tell them to report to me when they come back. All right. Yizichin looked up at the blue sky with a profound gaze. All of a sudden, Yizichin's elemental arms turned scarlet, like flames. Yizichin's arm set off the surrounding temperature. It improved rapidly. Bei-in sensed the abnormality, so she subconsciously looked towards Yizichin. In those few short seconds, before Yizichin could react, his arms suddenly turned into a scorching flame. Don't let anyone know. Bei-yin's heart also tensed up when she saw Yizichin's solemn gaze. Understood, Mr. Yi. I didn't see anything just now, so I don't know anything. If there was no surprise, she should have seen Yizichin's privacy. Bei-yin's eyes were filled with solemnity. Yizichin looked deeply at her, then hurriedly ran back to his room. Lil Fire, it's you, right? Yizichin muttered to himself as he locked the door. All of a sudden, the fire elemental spirit came out from his arm. Even though he was a fire elemental spirit, normally, he was like a normal person, like a human child. At that moment, his entire body was ablaze. He looked like a man on fire from head to toe. Lil Fire, what happened to you? Yizichin reached out to grab his shoulder. The heat of the flames caused him to quickly move his hand away. Even so, Yizichin had yet to touch the fire elemental spirit and was still half a meter away from the flames. His palm was almost burnt to a crisp. The heat of the flames caused black smoke to rise from the room. This was clearly a sign of burning. What's going on? Lil Water. The water elemental spirit appeared with a solemn expression. It could be seen that he already knew the situation before coming out. He didn't say anything. He waved his hand. All the water elements in the world gathered towards him. I might not be able to suppress it, the water elemental spirit shouted with a bit of effort. The energy of the universe is very high level. If it wasn't because I ate a lot of elemental crystals, I wouldn't be able to control it. All the water elements in the world, under the water elemental spirit's control, they all landed at the places that were about to be burned by the uncontrollable fire elements. Large amounts of mist filled the room. The entire room was like a steamer. Bei-in, who stood outside, also saw the mist and black smoke that spread out from Yizichin's room. Mr. Yi is in danger. The guards in the warehouse were shocked. Bei-in quickly rushed over. Bei-in, what are you doing? Mr. Yi doesn't let anyone disturb him. Bei-in bit her lips and stood guard in front of the mansion. Did Mr. Yi do that? I'm not sure. Bei-in shook her head. Mr. Yi didn't say anything. I don't know anything either. It's best if you act like you don't know anything. But Curry frowned, then nodded heavily as he looked at the situation in the room and Bei-yin's expression. I understand. I'll act like I didn't see anything, but we aren't the only ones here. With that, Curry left with his subordinates. Bei-in was Yizichin's trusted aide. She definitely got Yizichin's permission to say that. The only thing Curry could do right now was to try his best to not let anyone else notice. So hot. The fire elemental spirit clutched her chest and muttered. He said it's hot. Yizichin frowned. Lil Water, what happened to Lil Fire? Could it be he's going to break through? The water elemental spirit said sullenly. Right now, he's going through a transformation from child to a teenager, but I don't know why, but it seems like his breakthrough situation isn't too good. The fire elements are in a mess. It would be best if he can endure it, but if he can't, what will happen if he can't endure it? He will die. Chapter 2150. Whoosh! The flames on the fire elemental sprite burned even brighter. The scorching air had already turned into a visible heat wave, causing the room to be filled with water vapor. The water vapor also started to boil under the burning of the flames. The beauties of Planet Shell had already run out of the manor. At that moment, the temperature in the manor was at least 3,000 degrees Celsius. This temperature was already not something they could endure. Miss Bei-in, shouldn't you tell us the truth? Outside the manor, Curry and his subordinates were struggling to hold on. They were using their own cosmic energy to seal the manor surroundings so that the heat inside could not be released outside. They were doing this to buy time for Yi Zichen. They hoped that he could end it quickly before anyone else noticed. However, the heat in the manor was increasing too quickly. It was about to go out of their control. According to Curry's estimations, in less than 5 minutes, their energy seals would be melted by the heat in the manor. When that happened, the heat would rapidly spread outwards. The entire school would turn into a steamer. I don't know anything. Bei-in shook her head, while the image of Yi Zichen's arm burning in flames lingered in her mind. Elemental control was something that only the universe level could have. Everything in the universe was using cosmic energy. Yi Zichen was at the domain level, yet he could release flames. She was actually very confused, but she couldn't say it. She had to keep her mouth shut about all of this. I'm telling the truth. I really don't know anything. Mr. Yi returned to his room without saying anything. I don't know anything about the specifics of what happened. Bei-in, you better tell the truth. Curry's forehead started to sweat. Curry's forehead began to sweat. At this time, the heat in the manor is almost out of my control. Tell me in advance so that I can deal with it. Although I belong to Blue River School, Mr. Yi is under my protection. My loyalty towards him is no less than yours. Sorry, I don't know anything. Bei-in shook her head. During this period of time, her heart was in turmoil. Curry was an astrolabe level, which was a star system level expert. He was actually unable to control the heat in the manor. Just what happened to Mr. Yi? Boss, we can't hold on anymore. Curry's subordinates outside suddenly coughed up blood and fell onto the ground. They lost the elemental energy of one person. The entire seal began to fall apart. The huge heat wave fell on Curry's body. After holding on for more than 10 seconds, puff! Bright red blood spurted from Ku Li's mouth. In a split second, a huge heat wave swept out like an energy shock. Let's go. Curry clutched his chest and grabbed Bei-in, along with a few other girls from Shell Planet, in the manners of other course students. The guards and attendants, as well as the students, all ran out like madmen. F***CK. Why is it so hot? Bar, who lived next to Yi Zichen, was stunned when he saw Yi Zichen's manor begin to melt. What's the situation? Young master. At that moment, an old man appeared next to Bar. He released cosmic energy and wrapped Bar up. Please leave this place as soon as possible. The heat here is too high. If you stay here for too long, you will be in danger. Do you know what's going on? Bar frowned. Fire elemental energy. The old man looked at the surrounding heat waves and frowned. Very pure fire elemental energy, but these fire elemental energy are in a berserk state. If I don't go inside, I won't be able to know the specific situation. Let's go take a look. A large number of students left under the protection of the guards in the core dormitory area. Only Bar stood outside Yi Zichen's manor. No, the old man shook his head. If I go in to check, then no one will protect you. I'll go in with you. That's too dangerous. The old man refused once again. Someone from a school will come to deal with it very soon. You should leave with me as soon as possible and come back after everything is settled down. The family's opinion of you has already changed during this period of time, so please take good care of your body. In your words, if the family still views me like before, then my life and death isn't important? Bar frowned. That's not what I meant. The old man shook his head. Bar let out a long sigh, then looked away from Yi Zichen's manor. He entered the virtual network. Yi, your manor melted. Hurry up and come back to take a look. You might not even have a place to stay when you come back. Bar nodded towards the old man after sending the message. Let's go. Bar did not know that Yi Zichen was inside, nor did he know that the heat was released by Yi Zichen. Berserk fire elemental energy. How could he associate it with Yi Zichen? Why did it suddenly become so hot? Plenty of students and school staff in the Blue River campus couldn't help but mutter. In just a few short minutes, the surrounding temperature had risen by at least 10-odd degrees, and it was still rising. What exactly happened? It's too hot. More and more people started to feel the heat in the school, while a large number of students ran out of the school. The management of the Blue River campus started an emergency meeting. Did you find the source? The continuous high temperature had already defied the natural temperature of the Blue River planet. At that moment, the entire Blue River campus was in a steamer. The heat was still spreading outwards. "We found it." Someone in the meeting spoke up. "The source of the problem comes from the core dormitory area. We have already sent people over to investigate." Lil Fire, Yi Zichen, who was standing in the center of the heat, had already been scorched red. The water in his body was rapidly depleting. The water elemental sprite tried its best to control the surrounding water elements in an attempt to suppress the fire elemental sprite's rage. Dong! Suddenly, the water elemental sprite fell onto the ground. "Lil Water, Emperor Star, I can't suppress it anymore. I really tried my best." The water elemental sprite's expression was filled with weakness. "Hurry up and go back." Yi Zichen signaled the water elemental sprite to return to his elemental arm. The water elemental sprite disappeared into thin air. The moment it appeared, there was no longer any water element in the world that could suppress the fire elemental sprite's flames. But the flames burned brightly. Everything in the manner that could burn began to burn, while everything that couldn't began to melt in the heat. "Lil Fire, calm down." Yi Zichen's entire body was enveloped by the heat. "You, leave," the fire elemental sprite shouted hoarsely. This might be the last bit of rationality it had, as it wanted Yi Zichen to leave. "I can't hold on much longer. Hurry up and leave." "Who's inside?" Suddenly, a group of universe-level experts rushed in from outside the manor. "Leave," the fire elemental sprite shouted. "If others see you here, they will definitely investigate your other elemental sprites." "I won't leave too quickly." Yi Zichen, who was in the room, suddenly smiled, then reached out his hand. He endured the pain of his arm being scorched by the flames and patted the fire elemental sprite's head. "Leave it to me." Chapter 2151. At the school's outdoor training center. All of the students in the school had already arrived. The school had also sent out experts to seal the entire school with cosmic energy, preventing the heat from leaking. Blue River is pretty good at dealing with emergencies. Bar nodded in praise as he looked at the school's handling of the situation. From the melting of the seal in the warehouse to the school sending people to deal with it. Not even 5 minutes had passed since then. This sort of emergency handling was already done very well. "What's Yeezy doing? Why isn't he replying?" Bar looked at the messages on the virtual network. He sent several more to Yi Zichen after sending the previous message. "It's just that, don't be afraid, you can go stay at my place. The main point is for Bei-in to move in as well." When Bar thought about the possibility of Bei-in staying at his place, he felt like Yi Zichen's manor was pretty well built. However, Bar didn't quite understand. Why did the fire elements in Yi Zichen's manor suddenly go berserk? The entire universe was formed from elements. The world they were in contained large amounts of the 5 elements of heaven and earth, as well as special elements. The balanced existence of the elements also created the balance of the universe. Of course, occasionally, the elements would get into conflict and collide with each other, causing all sorts of natural weather or disasters. This was actually a very common thing in the universe. Bar had seen a situation even more ferocious than when the elements went berserk. However, the reason why the elements went berserk was because a treasure was unearthed. A treasure was unearthed under Yi Zichen's manor. Bar muttered in his heart. He felt like it wasn't very possible. Before Blue River established the school, no, they wouldn't explore the land. If there really was a treasure buried underneath, they would have dug it up already. At that moment, Bar saw Bei-in in the crowd. "Bei-in." Bar hurriedly ran up. The old man behind him sighed silently. As Bar's personal bodyguard, he knew a bit about Bar's situation. However, he didn't think that anything would happen between Bar and Bei-in. The two of them had completely different backgrounds. It was one thing if she was a direct descendant or a branch of the Steele family. But Bar was the family head's son. His marriage wasn't something he could decide on his own. "Young Master Bar." Bei-in bit her lips and nodded. "Why are you still calling me Young Master Bar?" "I told you, just call me Bar from now on." Bar grinned and looked at Bei-in with adoration. "I saw that his manner has almost melted. You can stay at my place from now on." Bei-in lowered her eyes and did not speak. Bar thought that she could not make her own decisions, so he smiled. I'm fine. Yezi and I are brothers. He definitely won't refuse. If you don't believe me, go find him. I'll tell him myself. Bain was still biting her lips. Bar looked around the dojo a few times. Where's Leaf? Mr. Yi isn't here, Bain said. Then where is he? Seriously, he didn't reply to my messages on the virtual network. He's running out of places to stay, but he's not worried at all. Ball curled his lips. Suddenly, his expression froze. He looked at Bain. Don't tell me Yezi is in the manor. This was Bar's sudden thought, but when he saw Bai Yin's expression, follow me back. Bar shouted at the old man. Young master there. I said go back. Bar glared, then ran towards the outside of the dojo. The old man sighed silently and could only follow behind him. Emperor Star, leave it to me. Yi Zichen's arm was burnt to the point where no flesh could be seen. All that was left was a bone. The bone pressed down on the fire elemental sprite's head. The fire elemental sprite seemed to have been absorbed and entered Yi Zichen's arm. Emperor Star, you can't do this. Why not? The fire elemental sprite was completely absorbed. The intense pain caused Yi Zichen to kneel on the ground. His organs were being burnt by the flames. All of a sudden, flames spewed out from Yi Zichen's eyes. Not even half a minute later, Yi Zichen turned into a flaming man. Who's inside? The scouting team sent by the school kicked open the door that had been burnt into charcoal. When they entered the room, what they saw was a set of burning white bones. Bang! The flames suddenly grew stronger. The fire elemental energy in the surroundings surged towards the flaming man. The fire elemental energy was like fuel, causing the flames on the flaming man's body to grow stronger and stronger. The flaming man's skull suddenly cracked open. The skeletal hand, covered in flames, slapped the head of a level 9 star system expert. In the blink of an eye, that expert's head was burned into a skeleton by the flames. Seeing this, the flaming man tilted his head. He smiled. Retreat. Hurry up and retreat. The scouting team hurriedly retreated. As they retreated, they didn't forget to drag out the person with the burnt skull. Star system level, the body could be reborn. As long as they had enough time and money, there was a chance that they could return to their previous state. The flaming man looked at the retreating scouting team and tilted his head. The skeletal arm lifted. Countless scarlet fireballs gathered in the air. He pushed them lightly. The fireball in the void shot out like a cannonball. Boom! Boom! Intense rumbles echoed through the sky. When the fireballs landed on the ground, they turned into embers and burned the ground. The flaming man tilted his head again and hooked his finger. Enough! Suddenly, the flaming man roared angrily. Hurry up and run. When the scouting team heard this, they were startled for a moment and hurriedly ran out of the manor. Don't think too highly of yourself. In a fiery land, this used to be Yi Zichen's sea of consciousness, but now it was being invaded by flames. Yi Zichen half knelt on the ground, his eyes blazing. He panted heavily as he looked at the sea of flames in front of him. What a surprise! You were actually able to regain control of your body. A white-browed elder walked out of the sea of flames. You're the guy who insta-killed me, right? Yi Zichen looked at the elder in front of him. He felt a sense of familiarity from him. That's right. The elder nodded. Unfortunately, you otherworld heroes have undying bodies. Even if I killed you in my world, I couldn't kill you for real. So you came to my world. Yi Zichen clenched his teeth. Don't overthink it. I'm not interested in you. The elder shrugged. I'm just interested in that child body. You could have been safe and sound, but you had to stick your nose in other people's business. Yi Zichen snickered. Just you wait. Lousy will kill you sooner or later. When that happens, I'll even destroy your lair. Chapter 2152. The fire elemental spirit would not go berserk for no reason. Yi Zichen felt that there was definitely some sort of problem, so he fused the elements. In the end, it really was so. The soul of the fire elemental spirit contained another consciousness. This consciousness wanted to fight for control of the fire elemental's body, and then mix the elemental power, causing two different types of fire elemental to appear in the fire elemental's body. They collided with each other and went berserk. However, What Yizichin did not expect was that this consciousness actually came from the game's second world. During the promotion of the Virtual World Corporation, they mentioned the authenticity of the game. Everything in the game could be extracted, allowing the supreme overlords of the universe to enter this game and fight for the goals in their hearts. But who would have thought that the monsters in the game could also come into reality? The flaming white-eyebrowed elder smiled with disdain. He looked at Yizichin with a mocking gaze. Anyone can talk big. If you didn't fuse with the fire elemental spirit, then I might actually be a bit afraid. You people, who are favored by the primogeniture, are not afraid of death. Coming to my place every day to cause trouble is giving me quite a headache. What a pity! You made a wrong decision. The flaming white-eyebrowed elder raised his eyebrows, while flames burned on his fingertips. My fire will devour your consciousness. I'm very surprised that you can still retain your consciousness despite being at the domain level. But you won't be able to keep this consciousness for long. When your consciousness is completely devoured, then everything about you will be mine, including the elemental spirits on your arm. The elder looked towards Yizichin's arm. Yizichin's entire body had already turned into white bones under the burning of the flames. Only his arm remained. It shone with 4 different colors. You're rather interesting. A mere domain was able to obtain the recognition of 5 elemental spirits. If I can take over your body, then no one in this world will be able to match me. Keep dreaming. Yizichin sighed heavily. The intense burning caused his chest to ache unbearably. Tim. Now, even moving a finger was an extravagant hope. The only thing he could do was to use his willpower to fight for control of his body. I can't give up. He believed that the fire elemental sprite had not given up either. Lousy has been playing with fire since I was young and entered the Tao with the 5 elements. Lousy doesn't believe that an old geezer like you can eat Lousy. Yizichin revealed a fierce gaze. Ignorant. The old man shook his head. At the same time, Blue River campus meeting room. E-class, are you sure? There was shock in the eyes of the people sitting in the director's seat. At least E-class. In the conference room, the investigation team came to report. Just now, when we clashed with that flaming skeleton, we lost a level 9 Nebula expert. He's been sent to the infirmary, and it's unknown if he's dead or alive. Headmaster. The dean focused his gaze on the old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion who was seated at the principal's seat. This old man was the founder of Blue River School, Universe Commander level. Fries. It was said that he was 1 step away from becoming a titled battle pet warrior. Headmaster, elemental strengths above D level, according to the Universe Alliance Treaty, have to be reported. The headmaster frowned. Do you think we should suppress it ourselves, or there was a document in front of Fourth Eye? It contained detailed information about Yizichin, Beneo Galaxy, the residents of Withered Tree Star. This information wasn't important at all. Everyone knew that it was fake. At most, it was just a place to register. Domain level. That was what Fourth Eye focused on. To control the elemental energies, one needed a universe-level soul comprehension level to be able to do it. Why did domain-level people have elemental energy and cause the elemental energy to go berserk? Genius? Domain-level people with elemental energy could only be described as a genius to others. But how could Blue River meet such a genius? Who helped him get into school? Me. A middle-aged elder walked out from the corner of the meeting room. He was Mr. Fei, who helped Yizichin get into school. Fei E. Fourth Eye frowned. Headmaster, Fei nodded. You are a member of the Virtual World Corporation. Why did the subordinate of the person in charge of Beneo Galaxy come to my school? Fourth Eye squinted his eyes. I hope you can give me an explanation later. But before that, tell me about his situation. Fourth Eye chucked the document onto the table. No comment. Fei E revealed a smile and completely ignored the 4 pairs of eyes staring at him. I have already sent the information to my superior. The people from the Virtual World Corporation will be arriving soon. Don't bother with Blue River School. Fei E. Fourth Eye slammed the table. The power of a universe commander surged out. Fei E, who stood in front of Fourth Eye, also revealed a pained expression. No matter what, he was only at the 9th stage of the star level. How could he endure the pressure of a universe commander? Don't be impudent. Even if you're a member of the Virtual World Corporation, you should still show respect to the strong. Don't mention you. Even if your master comes, he has to show me some respect. The pressure of a universe commander caused Fei Yi's bones to creak. Speak. Just who is he for your Virtual World Corporation to care so much about him? Know what you should know. Don't ask what you shouldn't know. Fei Yi roared angrily. You're seeking death. Fourth Eye was furious. A pair of hands formed from universe energy slammed down towards Fei Yi. All of a sudden, a gust of wind blew in front of everyone. The hands formed from universe energy in the meeting room also shattered in the air. Yanhua. Long time no see, Fourth Eye. The person who arrived was a middle-aged man with a medium build. When Fei Yi saw him, he quickly bowed and greeted, Sire. Fei Yi, you did well. Yanhua nodded in satisfaction, then looked towards Fourth Eye. I won't pursue the matter of you injuring my subordinates. From now on, the matter of your student Yi Zichen going berserk will be handled by our Virtual World Corporation. What arrogance! Fourth Eye's aura intensified. Your Virtual World Corporation really thinks that this universe is your home. The Alliance hasn't even said anything, and you want to... This is the virtual version of the special order given by the highest Alliance. Yanhua waved her hand, and a document with countless metal seals appeared in front of everyone. Even though it was a virtual version, from the seals, they could still feel the boundless pressure. The physical version will arrive later. It will be brought here personally by Steelbat of the Steel family under our corporation. Then, Yanhua patted Four Eye's shoulder. Do you have anything to say now? Chapter 2153. From a seal on the virtual document. Whether it was the Four Eyes or the other people in the meeting room, they could all confirm that it was from the Supreme Alliance. It was an order from the Supreme Alliance. No matter how unhappy the Four Eyes were, he didn't dare to find trouble with Yanhua. Looking at the smile in Yanhua's eyes, the Four Eyes angrily waved his hand and left the meeting room. The other Blue River campus staff all looked at each other in dismay. After hesitating for a while, they also left. Lord, what is it? You're letting the Four Eyes go just like that? Fei Yi didn't understand. This time he'll definitely contact his superiors. The #1 Mercenary Alliance and our Virtual World Company have always been at odds. So what? Yanhua didn't care about it at all. It's an order from the Supreme Alliance. It doesn't matter who the Four Eyes go to. In the entire universe, after reaching the universe level, the interactions between the powers would become complicated. However, in the end, the universe's 8 great Leviathans couldn't escape. The 8 great Leviathans didn't get along with each other. They had their own factions. There were 3 main factions. The Virtual World Company, the Universe United Bank, was one faction. The universe's #1 Mercenary Alliance, the universe's Energy Management Office, the Universe Allied Arena were one faction. Not long ago, in the Tsangyu Galaxy, the Mercenary Alliance and the Arena were both involved. Only the Energy Management Office was missing. Who knew if there was a problem between these 3? Dan Alliance, Weapons Hall were one faction. And finally, the Supremes Association, they weren't related to any faction, yet they were related to all of them. This was because the Supremes Association had the few Leviathans as its core. They gathered together to build. They dealt with the big and small matters of the universe. In the Supremes Association, the few higher-ups were all there. Whether or not there was any internal strife, the people below didn't know. Maybe the people above were very harmonious. The people below were very lively. Like the Four Eyes, even though he opened a school on Blue River Planet, he was actually part of the universe's #1 Mercenary Alliance. The universe's #1 Mercenary Alliance had always been unfriendly to the Virtual World Company. Looks like I came at the right time. All of a sudden, a smiling youth appeared in the meeting room. He had a head of silver hair, eyebrows like swords. Even though he had a smile on his face, it wasn't a smile that made people feel close. Your Majesty Bada. Yanhua quickly greeted him. Have the people from the Mercenary Alliance left? The young man nodded and looked at the empty conference room. Just left. That's great. I'm not good at dealing with them. The young man heaved a sigh of relief. Have our people been sent up? Not yet. After answering the young man's question, Yanhua looked at Fei Yi. Fei Yi, your subordinate is here. Have our people replace Blue River's people. Also, tell His Highness Bard about the current situation. The flames burned. The raging flames soared into the sky, and the entire dormitory area of the core students was turned into a sea of fire. They had surrounded Yi Zichen's manor from the very beginning. At this time, everyone had already retreated to the periphery of the core student dormitory. It was too hot. It was no exaggeration to say that if they allowed the flames inside to continue, its core temperature could even reach the eternal core level. That was the surface temperature of the sun. This kind of heat, don't even mention a universe level, even a warrior or general. Even if the commander's men came, they wouldn't be able to hold them off. Get out of my way. At the entrance to the core student dormitory, Bar looked coldly at the guard who blocked his way. The area in front is locked down. No students are allowed to enter, the leading guard said seriously. Do you know who I am? Bard's eyebrows flashed with anger. I am Steel Bar, a city guard of the Steel family. The head of the Steel family is my father. You actually dare to block me? Get out of my way. Steel family. The guard expression clearly changed when he heard Bar's identity. The Steel family was a prestigious family. Their clan also had a lot of power in the universe. Get out of my way. No. After a brief hesitation, the guard still shook his head. It is very dangerous inside. Since you are the young master of the Steel family, all the more I cannot let you in. Hurry up and let me in. Bar was so anxious that he was about to go crazy. Yi Zichen was inside. This was the only close friend he had made in so many years. Although the two of them had only known each other for a very short amount of time, the friendship between the two of them was several times, or even tens of times greater than that of other people. My friend is still inside. That's impossible. We already did a thorough investigation. None of my family members are inside. The guard shook his head. You don't know shit. Bar cursed. I can't be bothered to bullshit with you. Hurry up and let me in. I have universe-level guards, so you don't need to worry about my safety. If you dare to stop me again, don't blame me for not reminding you. I'm a spoiled brat. I can do anything. It was rather rare to see someone threatening someone like that. Bar hoped that he could use this to make the guards fear him and let him in. That's your little brother, right? Yanhua couldn't help but smile wryly when she saw the situation in front of her. It's my little brother. Sorry for making a fool of myself. Steel Bar nodded, then walked forward. Are you going to move or not? Bar pointed at the guard and cursed loudly. At the end of the day, he was not a spoiled brat. If he was, then why would he waste so much time with the guard? He would have already fought his way in. All of a sudden, Ball felt a tap on his shoulder. Patting my shoulder, I think you're... Bar frowned and turned around. When he saw the person's face, he was like a frosted eggplant. Brother. Young Master Bar. Bar's old guard hurriedly greeted. No wonder you don't want to stay in the family. Are you here to experience the life of a spoiled brat? Bar was expressionless. No one could tell if he was happy or angry. Is this how you use the Steel family's flag? Bar's head drooped. Biting his lips, he never expected Steel Bar to suddenly come here. A few days ago, I heard from the family. They said that your recent performance has been very good. The family is very satisfied with you. They're reevaluating you. They even said that they want you to try and learn about the management of the family. I'm very happy. You're able to grow up and help your father. As your brother, I'm very happy too. Now it seems that the family made a mistake. Steel Bar shook his head in disappointment. He took a few steps forward and bowed deeply to the guard. I'm sorry, this little brother of mine doesn't know any better. Please don't mind him. I'll teach him well when I get back. Chapter 2154. Compared to Steel Bar's previous arrogance, Steel Bar's attitude towards the guards was much friendlier. Comparing the two before and after, Steel Bar's attitude was even higher. During this period, Steel Bar kept clenching his fists, not saying a word. All right, Bar. This is not a place you should be. Go to a safe area and wait. Wait until I settle the situation here, then I'll preach to you. Bard patted Bar's shoulder. Suddenly, Bar shook Bar's hand away. Lecture? Other than lecturing, what else can you do? Don't forget, you are not my father. You were only born a few seconds earlier than me. What right do you have to lecture me? Bar's eyes were filled with disdain and bitterness. He had been like this since he was young. Lecturing. He had always been lecturing. It was as if he did not know anything, but Bar knew everything. Whenever Bar made a mistake, the elders of the family would always use Bar to speak. When Bar made no mistakes, he would always do well. Then he would tell him not to be complacent and use Bard as a comparison, saying how far he was from Bard. Why? He was a person with an independent personality and thought process. Why did he always have to use someone else as a comparison? Just because they were twins? Just because Bard was the elder brother? Bard was a genius? Bar, don't try to boss me around here. Bar frowned. If you're unhappy, go tell those elders about me. Anyway, with your position in the family, you can see whoever you want. Bar pouted and pushed Bard away, heading towards the guards of the core student dormitory. Moo! I don't want to say it again. I am a useless good-for-nothing. If you continue to block me, I will kill you. The guards looked at Bard subconsciously. Why must you go in? Bard frowned. It is really dangerous inside. The elemental energy here has already reached E-class. Even an admiral would be in danger inside. None of your business. As soon as he finished speaking, Bar looked at the guards in front. Scram! The guards gritted their teeth, and only when they saw Bard lightly nod at them did they lower their heads and make way. Follow him. Don't let anything happen to him. Looking at Bar's back, Bard let out a long sigh. Why does he have to go in? Mr. Yi is young Master Bar's close friend. Bar's personal guard, the old man, said and hurriedly followed. Outside, Bard frowned slightly as the old man's words echoed in his mind. So you've made friends. With a smile on her face, Yanhua, who had not dared to speak during this period, finally spoke. Your Highness, should we go in? Bar nodded. Deal with the situation inside as soon as possible. I still have other tasks to perform. Yes. Bang. Seal him. Outside the manor, 6 universe general-level experts landed at the 4 corners of the manor. The remaining 2 hovered in mid-air. Surging cosmic energy was released from their bodies. He turned the energy into countless threads and wove them together to form an energy cage, trapping Yi Zichen's flaming skeleton within. They also tried to stop the heat. However, they gave up in less than half a minute. The heat released by the flaming skeleton was ridiculously high. They could try to suppress the heat. However, suppressing it for a long time would cause the heat to accumulate. When the heat exploded, it would cause immeasurable destruction. Because of that, they could only try to trap the flaming skeleton and let the heat spread outwards. They knew very well that there would be people outside controlling the heat. Within the cage, the flaming skeleton was in a berserk state. The main reason for its berserk state was the fight between Yi Zichen and the flaming white-browed elder for control of its body. If either side had the absolute advantage, the flaming skeleton would not be as berserk as it was now. Bang, bang, bang. Countless fireballs collided with the energy net. The huge impact caused the blood of the 6 sealed people to churn uncontrollably. One had to know, they were all universe generals. They could already be considered as outstanding existences in the universe. However, the 6 of them working together was actually unable to trap the domain-level flaming skeleton. Elemental energy truly is the darling of the universe. In terms of energy level, fire elemental energy is countless times higher than the energy of the universe. Steelbad, who was standing a few hundred meters away, muttered, "That can't be helped," Yanhua shrugged. The birth of the universe was formed from the 5 elements of heaven and earth, as well as time, space, light, darkness, several major elements. The energy of the universe right now is basically the inferior product of these elemental energies. That's why controllers are more respected than martial artists, Steelbad sighed. That's right, Yanhua nodded. During this time, Bear was already so shocked that he couldn't say anything. He only understood how terrifying it was when he saw it for himself. Steelbad, Yanhua, and the others from the Virtual World Corporation were right beside Bear. Perhaps Steelbad was also worried that something would happen to Bear and worried that his guards wouldn't be able to take care of him. That's why he specifically stayed here. How could this be? Bear gulped. and looked at the flaming skeleton in the middle. Is this really Yi Zichen? I don't quite believe it. Your friend is very special. He's clearly only at the domain level, but he can wield elemental energy. Unfortunately, the elemental energy backfired on him, turning him into a mindless, flaming monster. Bear explained carefully. Is that really Yi? Bear asked. According to the data, it is indeed him, Bear nodded. How are you going to deal with him? Bear hesitated for a moment, then looked at the raging Yi Zichen. How do you want me to deal with him? I want him to live. That's up to him. Bear looked at the flaming skeleton. Bard looked at the flaming skeleton inside. If he can regain control of his body, that would be for the best. If not, are you going to kill him? Bear frowned. That's the only way. Bear didn't show much emotion. Don't let your emotions affect your decisions. If he can't regain control of his body, then he will no longer be human. Even if I don't do anything, other seniors will deal with this dangerous being in the universe. Can you give him some time? Bear frowned. Sure. Bear didn't refuse. Bard didn't refuse. I can give him half an hour. That's the most I can give him. Chapter 2155. Fire. A raging fire. As far as the eye could see, the entire world was dyed red. Yi Zichen was in the middle of the sea of fire. He was clearly a consciousness in his sea of consciousness, but his body was covered in flames. Intense pain filled Yi Zichen's consciousness. It's useless. The white-browed elder stood in the sea of fire. The flames will devour you completely. The flames are covering your body now. When the flames enter your consciousness and take over your brain, you will be me. The elder's eyes flashed with pride. It was only a matter of time. He didn't mind wasting a bit more time. Yi Zichen looked outside. A few general-level ants wanted to use the universe's energy to trap him. Foolish. When Yi Zichen's consciousness was cleared, this low-level energy was a low-level product of fire elemental energy. He could break it if he wanted to. He looked at Yi Zichen in ridicule and watched as the flames in his sea of consciousness slowly devoured him. How about you release that elemental fairy? Actually, I like that little fellow more. A smile lingered in the eyes of the fiery old man. He was always fearless. Against a domain level, he didn't feel any threat at all. The progenitor sealed him in the second world, causing his strength to be greatly suppressed. At that moment, he returned to reality. His strength might not be able to crush titled level, but at the very least, universe level was no match for him. Of course, he had a physical body earlier on. Right now, he was only a strand of consciousness. He had to devour Yi Zichen to regain his former strength. Keep dreaming. Yi Zichen laid on the ground and endured the flames. The flames in his sea of consciousness were very fierce. As long as he could hold on to his last strand of consciousness and not be completely devoured by the flames, then the fiery elder wouldn't be able to take over him. Just like that, he was sharing the burden of the fire elemental fairy. As long as the fire elemental fairy could chase the fiery elder away, then everything would be fine. Why do you have to ruin the future of other elemental fairies for a single fairy? The fiery elder frowned. It was true that he was waiting. However, Yi Zichen's willpower was ridiculously strong. His flames couldn't enter or devour, so it wasn't a good thing for him to waste time here. He continued to mix the fire element. One of the problems was the lack of sufficient fire elemental energy. Another problem was that the flaming skeletons outside were constantly going berserk. Would the human clan send a strong expert? This was also something he was concerned about. Are you panicking? Suddenly, Yi Zichen grinned. Are you feeling a little anxious because you can't devour my consciousness? Why should I be anxious? The fiery old man said disdainfully. Aren't you afraid that the experts of a human clan will come and kill you? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. The human race deeply hates you other races. I am the fire elemental commander, the noble elemental general. The flaming old man bellowed out. If the humans dare to kill me, the great elemental elves will not let them off. Which elemental spirit's subordinate are you? Asked Yi Zichen. You don't need to know that. There are elemental spirits in your elemental secret realm, right? No. Then why did you mention elemental spirits? Were you ordered by the elemental spirits in your place to devour little fire? No. All right, I got it. Suddenly, a hint of a smile appeared in Yi Zichen's eyes. There was no hint of pain in that smile at all. The flames continued to linger on his body, but they didn't seem to affect him in the slightest. Thank you for this piece of information. Yi Zichen slowly stood up from his sea of consciousness. With a wave of his hand, the flames on his body were all devoured into his body. The flaming old man glared. What? Your flames entered my consciousness. Why didn't you devour me? Yi Zichen smiled. Did you really think that Laozi was going to be devoured by you? I'll kill you. The flaming old man exploded. Raging fire elements gathered in Yi Zichen's sea of consciousness and invaded his body in an attempt to devour him. Flames. The moment they touched Yi Zichen, they were all devoured. Not a single bit was left. Laozi entered the Tao with the 5 elements. I've always devoured fire. I've never heard of fire devouring Laozi. Yi Zichen revealed a look of disdain. If it wasn't for the fact that Laozi wanted to confirm whether or not you had elemental spirits, do you think Laozi would have played with you for so long? Lil Fire. All of a sudden, a famous young master appeared by Yi Zichen's side. The young man's hair was pure red and seemed to burn on top of his head like flames. His height roughly reached Yi Zichen's waist. His face was still filled with immaturity, but his expression was filled with confidence. What do you think if I let you devour an elemental spirit? That's great, the young man smiled. The young man was Lil Fire, who had always been by Yi Zichen's side. He had already successfully advanced to the juvenile stage. Hurry up and deal with him. If I'm not wrong, the elemental spirit of that elemental land should already be in its twilight years. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken the risk of sending the only elemental commander out. The fire elemental spirit spoke up. I think so too. Yi Zichen smiled towards the flaming old man. Yi Zichen smiled, then turned to the fiery elder. Say, you elementals are all half dead. Why do you still want to cause trouble for us, the new generation? With a wave of his hand, the fire elements in his sea of consciousness instantly turned against him. All of the fire elements that the flaming old man had once refined became the loyal subordinates of Yi Zichen and the fire elemental spirit. Lil Fire, you can eat this guy. Sure thing. Outside the manor, the flaming skeleton went berserk. Steelbad kept track of the time, then walked forward. What are you going to do? It's time, Steelbad frowned. The current heat is the limit of what I can handle. If we delay any longer, then the problem here will become troublesome. I can't let you go. Steelbad blocked in front of him. That's my friend. He isn't human. He is. Steelbad roared angrily. I believe in him. He will definitely be able to walk out. He can't become that kind of flaming monster. Move. I'm not moving. Bar. There's a limit to messing around. Steelbad's gaze darkened. If you continue to be so unreasonable. Yo, brothers are fighting? Suddenly, a chuckle sounded out in the manor. Then, the flaming skeleton slowly turned back into Yi Zichen's original appearance. At the same time, he also walked in front of the energy net. What's this? Don't block my way. Flames circled around his hand, melting the energy net. Easy. Bar ran out excitedly. Yi Zichen smiled. That's your older brother? Chapter 2156. Easy. Bale's eyes were filled with joy. Aside from joy, there was also a hint of fear. To be honest, the flaming skeleton in the manor had given Ball quite a fright. It was the kind of skeleton that had no sense of reason at all and only thought about destruction. It was really hard to associate it with Yi Zichen. Previously, when they met, although Yi Zichen acted calmer, Ball could feel his kindness and modesty from the bottom of his heart. The flaming skeleton and Yi Zichen were polar opposites. After a long while, only then did Bar reveal a smile. He didn't mention anything about the flaming skeleton. Instead, he patted his shoulder twice. You really like to cause trouble for people. Isn't it good to add some spice to your ordinary life? Yi Zichen smiled, then raised his eyebrows at the young man who looked almost identical to Ball. He's Ball, right? Yes, Ball nodded. He doesn't look like a good person. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. At that moment, Baal also walked over. Be reasonable. Yi Zichen hated Baal's gaze the most. Looking down from above, it was as if he was a messenger of the heavens, looking down on the foolish mortals beneath his feet. Hello. Baal reached out his right hand in a seemingly friendly manner. Yi Zichen glanced at him. He could still feel the undisguisable killing intent from Baal. This guy is seriously considering killing me. Hello. After a brief moment of hesitation, Yi Zichen also put his hand on Baal's. The moment they shook hands, a strand of cosmic energy tried to enter Yi Zichen's body. Yi Zichen hurriedly let go with a smile. Your older brother is so unfriendly. He wants to pry into someone else's privacy the moment we met. Is this how the Steele family teaches their juniors? Baal frowned. Although he didn't have a good impression of Baal, the Steele family was still his family. He was very serious about his family. I misspoke, Yi Zichen shrugged. Sorry, I didn't mean anything else, Baal said with a gentle smile. You were swallowed by the fire element just now, and you suddenly regained consciousness. I was just worried that an outsider had taken over your body and stayed in our safety zone. Are you sure now? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. No. Bard shook his head. I can't be sure of your identity before I examine your inner core. Therefore, I would like to ask you to return with me. After confirming your identity, we will release you. Arrest? Yi Zichen frowned. You can understand it that way. Bard's expression did not change. Bard was furious. Leaf is my friend. He's a human. What makes you so sure? In the face of Bard's angry rebuke, Bard's eyes did not reveal any emotion. I'm just doing my job. Stop acting like a child. Don't forget that you already had your coming-of-age ceremony 3 years ago. Baal's eyes were burning with anger. Yi Zichen pulled him back and shook his head. In fact, what Bard said was not unreasonable. No matter what, Yi Zichen had indeed just experienced a severe turn of events. Even he, before the fire elemental sprite successfully advanced, it also had the thought of being devoured by the elemental commander. Fortunately, the fire elemental sprite had successfully fused with the elements. Only then did Yi Zichen feel completely at ease. He'd used the situation to put on an act with the commander of flames. Ascertain the specific situation of the elemental lands. For the sake of humanity's safety, Bard wanted to find out whether or not Yi Zichen was human. There was no problem. However, there was no way Yi Zichen would let him examine the core. The inner core stored all of a human's memories. Allowing the other party to inspect it meant that everything about the human would be revealed to the other party. Yi Zichen had too many memories that no one else could know. Milky Way, elemental spirits. He couldn't let the people in the universe know about this, at least not before he had enough power to protect himself. Which department are you in? Yi Zichen asked. His Highness Bar belongs to our Virtual World Corporation. The person in charge of the Banao Star System's Virtual World Group said, You can rest assured about His Highness Bard. Our Virtual World Group. With what? Suddenly, Yi Zichen's expression darkened. It would have been fine if you weren't from the Virtual World Corporation. Now that you're from the Virtual World Corporation, I'm really worried about leaving with you. I don't understand. Bard shook his head. You guys created the second world, right? Yi Zichen frowned. Do you know why I was swallowed by the flames? It's because of your shitty game. Those flames nearly killed me. I was just about to report you guys, and you want me to leave with you? Push the blame mode activated. No matter what, Yi Zichen couldn't go back with them. If he returned to the Virtual World Corporation with them, it was certain that his inner core would be inspected. I'll meet on someone else's chopping block. Then, the matter of the elemental spirits and the Milky Way galaxy would be exposed. Although the Virtual World Corporation seemed to be on good terms with the Milky Way galaxy, that was only because of the higher-ups. God knows what was going on down there. What's more, elemental spirits were treasures that even overlords and sovereigns coveted. If a certain overlord or sovereign was interested in them, if they saw Yi Zichen's elemental spirits, they wouldn't even need to use force to snatch them. They could just say that they wanted to buy them. How would he answer? Give them? Then Yi Zichen might become a commoner and let down the Milky Way galaxy's hopes and expectations. Not give them. Do you dare not give them? Yi Zichen wasn't lying when he was swallowed by the flames. If it wasn't for the appearance of the elemental commander in the second world, Yi Zichen wouldn't have ended up in that state. The Virtual World Corporation would definitely investigate. They would be able to find out. Just what is the Virtual World Corporation doing? You created a game, and we players trust you, so we're completely invested in it. Yet, you don't provide absolute protection for the player's safety, causing them to fall into a predicament. Yi Zichen shook his head with a silly smile. I have to report the Virtual World Corporation. Even if you are one of the 8 major powers of the universe, I definitely won't submit. Yi Zichen's reply was firm and forceful. He was determined to push the problem onto the Virtual World Corporation. Of course, it would be extremely easy for a small fry like him to cause trouble for a colossal entity like the Virtual World Corporation. But he had to try. If he didn't try, then what awaited him would be a nightmarish future. As the saying goes, wealth cannot be corrupted, might cannot be subdued. No matter what, you have to give me an explanation today. Chapter 21:57. In the core student area, the surrounding people were all shocked when they heard Yi Zichen's words. Virtual World Corporation, the 8 giants of the universe. They controlled the information of the entire universe's virtual world. Countless people's secrets were all in the Virtual World Corporation's database. Of course, the Virtual World Corporation wouldn't pry into these things. Unless it was something that might endanger the safety of humans, they wouldn't care about anything else. Even if it was someone cheating on their marriage, or if it was some family's dirty dealings. It was an organization that completely focused on the safety of the human race and served the humans of the universe. Such a huge corporation. A single sneeze would cause the entire universe to experience a storm. Even the Steele family could only obediently nod to everything in front of the Virtual World Corporation. Yi Zichen was actually going to cause trouble for the Virtual World Corporation. As expected of my bro, he's very courageous. Bar muttered in his heart. He definitely didn't dare to openly support Yi Zichen. You said that the change just now happened because of the game's second world? Bar frowned. That's right. Don't you think it's funny? Bar had been given the title of genius since birth. His genius didn't just come from talent. It was also closely related to his hard work. Ever since he was a child, he had never experienced the joy of being a child. As far as he could remember, everything he did was to cultivate. As for those immersive games, he didn't even touch them. However, he did understand games. Virtual and digitized things that were purely made up of data. Are you trying to say that those data came from the game into reality? You didn't play the game's second world, right? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows when he saw Bar's disbelieving expression. Oh, as the Highness of the Virtual World Corporation, you didn't try out a game made by the corporation, and you're just spouting nonsense here? No, why should I play it? Bar frowned. Sir, can you explain to your Highness whether you have experienced it or not? Yi Zichen asked. Yanhua hesitated for a moment. Then, she told Bar about the game content and the specific situation of the second world. It can be extracted into reality. Bar frowned, but he didn't find it strange. He felt that everything the Virtual World Corporation did was normal. Then what he said is possible, right? Bard asked. Yanhua also nodded lightly. Contact the person in charge of Second World, Bard told Yanhua. I need to get evidence from him. Please wait a moment, Your Highness. It could be seen from Yanhua's respectful attitude and Bart's tone of voice. Your Highness, this position was a very high position in the Virtual World Corporation. A few minutes later, Yanhua gave Bard a meaningful look. Just vote it out. Our Virtual World Corporation has always been above board. Bard said, yes. Soon after, a three-dimensional projection appeared in front of everyone. In the video, there was a middle-aged man with a mustache. He looked gentle but very shrewd. Honorable Prince, still Bard. Hello. Bard nodded. Please help me check if there is any recent data from the second world that came to the real world. On the screen, the person in charge was clearly stunned. Your Highness, the data from the second world has entered the real world. There are hundreds of millions of new data every second. So many. Bard frowned. Yes, Your Highness might have been busy with missions, so you have yet to experience our game. Our game is completely connected to the real world, so everything in the game can be extracted, the person in charge replied. That sort of answer was completely useless to Bard. That was not the result he wanted to know. I'll give you a range. Yi Zichin of Blue River Planet in the Banao system. Investigate him for me, Bard said. Please wait a moment. The person in charge hurriedly left. Everyone outside the manor waited for the result of the person in charge's investigation. During this period of time, no one spoke. Everyone in the Virtual World Corporation followed Bard's lead. Since Bard didn't speak, naturally no one dared to speak. As for Yi Zichin, he couldn't be bothered to say anything. The more he spoke, the more mistakes he would make. Sometimes, the best way to solve a problem was to remain silent. Approximately half an hour later, it was also very difficult to extract specific data from the huge database. The person in charge returned to the projection. Your Highness, we have no right to check Yi Zichin's information. The person in charge's reply shocked everyone. Everyone looked towards Yi Zichin. Bard also looked at Yi Zichin in shock. No right to check. What level of confidentiality? Bard frowned. Sorry, Your Highness, I can't say. The person in charge shook his head in the projection. His answer was actually a sort of answer. He couldn't tell Bard. In other words, the level of confidentiality was above the level of confidentiality that Bard could check. The Virtual World Corporation had level restrictions on a lot of data. Normal level. Any resident could check it. Level A confidentiality. Only those of the star level could check it. Level B confidentiality. Star system level. Level C confidentiality. Universe level. These were all external information. Members who joined the Virtual World Corporation could check even higher levels of confidential information, becoming a member of the Virtual World Corporation. Furthermore, they could check many core information. Even Bard had no right to know. Just who is Yi Zichin? Bard! Suddenly, a middle-aged man with a black face and bull horns appeared in the projection. He looked like a bull demon king. White steam could be seen as he panted. Teacher! Bard suddenly bowed. Yanhua also hurriedly greeted him. Taurus Bull King. Yanhua is here too. The Minotaur man nodded, then looked towards Bard. Don't you have anything to check on Yi Zichin? This disciple, Bard explained the situation. Hearing that, the Taurus Bull King raised his eyebrows. Is Yi Zichin beside you? Yes. With that, Yi Zichin felt like he was enveloped by some sort of energy. Yi Zichin, Senior Taurus Bull King. Yi Zichin bowed. The Taurus Bull King didn't say anything else. It was as if he just wanted to look at Yi Zichin and greet him. Then, the Taurus Bull King spoke to Bard. Yi Zichin's inner core is that of a human. You don't need to continue checking. Yes, Bard nodded. That's all. The Taurus Bull King waved his hand, then looked towards Yi Zichin. The Virtual World Corporation will take responsibility for any problems that occur to you. Someone from the Virtual World Corporation will contact you later. Please keep the virtual network unblocked. All right. Yi Zichin nodded. That's all. Bard, contact me in the virtual world if there are any problems. With that, the projection closed. Chapter 2158. The virtual projection ended. Anyone could hear the hidden meaning behind the Taurus King's words. Steelbad activated his optical computer in front of everyone. A few minutes later, let's go. Waving his hand, Steelbad led the members of the Virtual World group out of the dormitory area. There were no words left. He didn't mention a single word about Yi Zichin's arrest. Your Highness, Yanhua and the other members of the Virtual World group were confused. Steelbad walked in the front. Don't come into contact with them recklessly in the future. Yes. Steelbard heaved a deep sigh as well. In his mind, he recalled the warning his master had given him. Don't get too close to Yi Zichin. His level of secrecy was determined by a supreme expert. Such a simple sentence. It was already clear that Yi Zichin had a tangled web of connections. At the very least, behind him stood a supreme existence. Damn, Yezi. Steelbar quickly walked up and punched Yi Zichin when he saw the members of the Virtual World Corporation leave. What exactly do you do? Even Bada's rank is not high enough. A king-ranked martial artist has to come out personally to testify for you. Yi Z, you're not ordinary. As Bar's biological brother, he naturally knew Steelbad better than anyone else. What a one-track mind. What a blockhead. He almost didn't know how to be flexible. Once he decided on something, he would definitely do it. Something that could make him change his mind. In Bale's memory, his father had ordered him twice. At other times, he would not listen to his father's orders. He would always act arbitrarily. For example, when he was young, Steelbat had been bullied by a descendant of another family. At the time, that family had come to apologize. His father also told Bard to drop the matter. Bart didn't listen. In the end, he was beaten half to death by the kid. That was his personality. He didn't like to be taken advantage of, nor was he willing to be taken advantage of. If he wanted to do it, he would do it. No one could change his mind. Unfortunately, he didn't take Yi Zichen away. After all, Steel Bard was determined to capture Yi Zichen and confirm his inner core. This time, he left without saying a word. If this chapter is not finished, please turn the page. Furthermore, he didn't mention anything about capturing Yi Zichen at all. One could only imagine how powerful it was to be able to change a stubborn person like Steelbad's mind. Bard's clearance is very high. Yi Zichen frowned. Of course. Steelbar nodded. He's the Royal Highness of the Virtual World Group. His authority is naturally very high. What's a highness? When Yi Zichen said this, Ball looked at him like he was looking at an alien. Did you do it on purpose? Her Highness is a core member of the Virtual World Corporation. She is a genius that the Virtual World Corporation has nurtured wholeheartedly. After that, Steelbar also gave a detailed explanation of this. The entire universe had a total of 3,080 universe countries, and every 1,000 years they would hold a universe struggle. This was to filter out the geniuses and elites of the universe countries. Finally, the 8 tycoons would recruit a total of 10,000 geniuses to become the core disciples of the 8 great forces. These core members would be called Your Highness. Among them, the Virtual World Group and the Universe No. 1 Mercenary Alliance had the best benefits. The princes of these 2 factions also had the highest status. What about the Association of Supremes? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Among the 8 great forces, the Association of Supremes should be the strongest. They had the authority to manage the other 7 factions. Ball was speechless once more. The Association of Supremes hasn't recruited anyone for several tens of millions of years to be chosen by the Association of Supremes. In the entire history of the universe, there have only been 4 people who were accepted into the association before they reached the universe level. Who? The first was the Azure Sea Overlord. He's already fallen, but his brilliance hasn't been erased in the billions of years of human history. He became a marquis in 300 years, a universe sovereign in 2000, and an overlord in 5000. Unfortunately, in a war with the outsiders, this powerful being was unfortunately killed. Bale's eyes were filled with respect and regret. If that overlord was still alive, who knew what kind of existence he would become? There was no doubt that he would become a supreme being. What about the other 3? The other 3 are from the same star domain. The same star domain? Yes, they're all from what used to be the Milky Way galaxy. Ball lowered his voice. Master of the Milky Way, Master of Tsangyu, and Venerable Spirit Phoenix. They're all from the Milky Way galaxy. Master of the Milky Way. Yi, this chapter isn't finished. Please continue. Yi Zichen clenched his fists. This wasn't the first time he'd heard of the Master of the Milky Way. Or rather, anyone capable of becoming an Overlord Sovereign had a dazzling resume when they were young. Needless to say, the Master of the Milky Way is one of the strongest experts in human history. Master of Tsang Yu was once the first general under the Master of the Milky Way. Now, she's one of the leaders of humanity. Venerable Spirit Phoenix presides over the battlefield of the Outer Realms. No alien race dares act presumptuously in her presence. Bale's eyes were filled with awe. These were all leaders of humanity. It was only because of their existence that humans could live in peace. Master of Tsangyu. Yi Zichen muttered to himself. He hadn't expected the Master of Tsangyu to have such a high status among the human race. To get rid of her, she wasn't simple. As for Venerable Spirit Phoenix, as soon as Yi Zichen entered the game, he'd heard of her. She was his comrade, White Phoenix. He'd never even considered White Phoenix to be Spirit Phoenix. Now that Ball mentioned it, he found it even more unlikely. How could someone capable of presiding over the battlefield of the Outer Realms be someone as slow-witted as White Phoenix? Yi Zichen had to think. No matter what, she had to be a senior who was not inferior to a man and had a face full of heroic spirit like an empress. Anyone who wants to enter the Society of Supremes must have the potential to become a supreme expert if they've been chosen. Do you know how majestic the Exalted One is? How could he succeed so easily? Ball grinned. That's why the Virtual World Corporation and the universe's #1 mercenary association are already very strong. It's also a form of acknowledgement from the universe. In that case, you're under a lot of pressure, Yi Zichen laughed. If you ask me, I'd say you should just join them. Being a silk pants is pretty good, isn't it? Why should I? Ball frowned. Right, I haven't told you yet. My family thinks very highly of me. As long as I continue to work hard, I'll definitely be able to make my family take my abilities seriously. Is that so? Yi Zichen smiled. Perhaps Ball didn't know that his family's attitude towards him had changed so drastically because of Yi Zichen's influence in the game. But that was fine too. He gained some confidence. That way, he wouldn't always feel sorry for himself. Congratulations. Yi Zichen cupped his hands at Ball, who laughed heartily. Same to you. Same to you. But no matter how high my position is, I can't compare to you, a big shot who made Bard suffer. Yi, tell me, just whose family are you from? End of chapter.